Guys, I, guys, I, I know I said we were probably going to miss the show today, but I did not expect what happened last night. And as a result of that, there's some moments in life where you have to make a decision. And the decision to wake up at basically 3:30 today, California time, to be here by 5:45, which is 8:45 your time, Eastern Standard, which is what I'm used to. That decision was made. And since that decision was made, we are here and we are live once again for another market open. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We are officially here live once again today. And we got a little bit to talk about, just a little bit, some stuff that I, discussing was important. Let me know if audio is good, volume's good, all stuff is good. I am in a friend's house right now that I'm staying with for a couple days. I'm in California for work this week, and you guys will see later this week what I'm doing for work. I didn't think I would stream this morning because I'm at a friend's house, but stuff happened last night. And because stuff happened last night, we've got to go live. This has been some of the craziest 24 hours I think we could possibly experience in 2024. I mean, 2024 has been wild. 2024 has been crazy. A lot of stuff has happened in 2024. These last 24 hours, I think, are unexplainable, and I'm going to try to break down and explain what we've got going on. I think I slept like 2-3 hours, but I got up with a lot of energy 2 hours ago, was ready to get back at it. And I don't know if I could live here full time in California. This whole time difference thing is kind of ridiculous with the financial markets, but there is just too much energy like in my soul right now to talk about this. And so we've got to discuss what's happening. Ladies and gentlemen, GameStop is back. GameStop is back. And the reason GameStop is back is because our good friend Roaring Kitty has posted on Reddit after 3 years. Last night we were driving. I was seeing the palm trees. It was so beautiful, so nice. I go on Twitter while we're driving and I'm like, oh my goodness. This is like legit happening. And at that moment, I was just like, I just could not believe this was happening. Roaring Kitty has $65 million worth of GameStop calls with a $20 strike expiring in 17 days or 19 days. June 21st, which is just, at this point, 18 days. It is just insanity. He also has 5 million shares of GameStop, which is a $115 million position of just shares, making his total position close to 200 million. This was last night at 5:47 p.m. when it was tweeted in GameStop. Well, those $20 calls are now in the money by, let's go to Webull. The price of GameStop right now, and this implicates a lot of other companies, is $39.90. So they are in the money by around basically $19. At one point, GameStop this morning was 100. It's not 100. Maybe it goes to 100. It was $43. And so it was up almost 95%, or a little bit above 99%, or close to 101, 102%. Right now, it's up about 75%. So those calls are obviously in the money, and in the money by a good amount. The people who sold those calls right now to Roaring Kitty must be absolutely crapping themselves. This is the option chain. If you're looking at it, as soon as the market opens, we're going to look at how this plays out. This is the call. $20 call, June 21st expiration. Currently it's worth $550. When the market opens, we're going to see what it's actually worth. And 144,000 of those are open. We saw that someone was buying these probably a month ago, in mid-May, around May 15th, May 16th. Someone was buying those aggressively. People thought it was Roaring Kitty, but no one really knew. It ended up being Roaring Kitty. I mean, this is just like, I don't even know what to say. This is just like who would have, like, when he posted the ET meme, everyone was like, all right, he's gone. Even me, I was like, all right, the dude's gone. It was kind of fun. But obviously that was a little bit of a naive take, because it's like, why would he stir up all this momentum? Why would he be the way he is to not make some noise, and that noise being attached to money? This is what Roaring Kitty tweeted last night for those that missed it. And again, this was the first tweet I saw. I saw this little Uno reverse card and I was like, oh, cool, Uno reverse card. Fine. I didn't know the guy had $200 million in GameStop. By the way, given the price is close to $40, he is up $300 million in GameStop right now, if you do the math. If the stock gets to $72, that's it. $72. That's what we're looking for. Roaring Kitty will be worth $1 billion. And he started 5 years ago with 50,000. It would have been a 2019 to 2024 trade of $50,000 to $1 billion. And so here's my take, right? Here's my take. And I want to know what you guys think in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We are absolutely witnessing history this morning. It is incredible. I'm not in my usual setup. I'm in California, and I didn't think I would do the show, but we are here. We've got to discuss it. So thank you all for being here today. And then we got a lot of other macro stuff to talk about. We got to talk about Robinhood. We got to talk about everything else involved in this story. Here is my take. I saw some people on CNBC this morning saying this was a mockery of the financial system. This was a mockery of what it means to make a market. This was a mockery of the nature of Wall Street, right? And that was, and Andrew Ross Sorkin came out with that take this morning, and I was just like, wow. I didn't expect Ross Sorkin, who I thought was a little bit, I thought he was understanding what was going on. He felt this was a mockery of the system, and there were other people on CNBC talking the same stuff, right? In my opinion, I think this is what the financial system needs to be kept sane. At some point, you have such levels of inequality between the haves and the have-nots due to one thing and one thing only: access to information. That is the only thing that separates people that make a lot of money in the market and people who don't make a lot of money. And I think that's just objectively true. If you knew that something was going to happen before it happens, and knew meaning you have a hypothetical, argument for why this could happen, and you take a bet either to the short side or to the long side, and then it plays out the way you want it to play out within legal boundaries, and there's, pretty objective legal boundaries in terms of what it means to pump and dump and things of that nature, you win in the markets. That's it. You win. So how do people engage in the markets? They say, okay, well, I'll buy a stock today, and in 20 years, I'll sell it, because in 20 years, there has been enough time for a thesis to play out. And if I pick the right stock, or if I pick the right index, I win. The hedge funds, they do short-term positions. Short-term could be, 1 week to a couple years, and they need to find an artificial way to make that position relevant in mainstream media. What the shorts and hedge funds have done on CNBC and Bloomberg and all these types of networks that control and really monopolize financial media attention. I mean, part of the reason you guys are here this morning instead of CNBC is because you want a different opinion, a different sort of approach to that monopolistic form of media. Is they facilitated the infrastructure for those hedge funds to pump their short positions. You've got Bill Ackman, and I respect Bill Ackman. I hope that I can interview him one day. Like, Bill Ackman is someone who has routinely been able to pull these things off because he has the attention of the media given to him by mainstream outlets like CNBC. My whole point is not to critique the Bill Ackmans of the world for doing that, or the Chamots of the world. My point is that when someone else does it, whether it's via Bitcoin or whether it's with a quote unquote meme stock, they have beat the system at doing what the system does and propping up the main figures of the system to be able to do it. When someone outside of the system does it, I think whether you care about GameStop, you don't care about, say, GameStop, you think this is manipulation, whatever you think it is keeping the financial markets in check. And the reason it's keeping the financial markets in check is because a lot of times the financial markets feel they can get away with doing this stuff without having to be in check. And that's not the case. Right now, OPEX is reporting short sellers are likely going to lose $993 million when the market opens. I don't think it's a great thing for these people to be losing all this money. I'm not happy people are going to be down $1 billion, but what I am slightly happy about, what gives me a little sense of joy, is, wait a second, these people continued the same playbook, thinking that other people were too stupid to be able to interact in a position that, they felt they had an upper hand on. And this time they didn't have the upper hand. This time a guy tweeting, or a bot, an AI, whatever this thing is tweeting, these Uno reverse cards, has the upper hand. Someone is shorting GameStop right now that we all know. Andrew Left of Citron Research publicly shorted GameStop back in 2021. He covered the short when GameStop was only $90. GameStop ended up going to $480, so more than 5x after he covered his short, and he lost 100% of his position. If he didn't cover the short, he would have lost a lot more. In mid-May, May 14th, this year, just 2 weeks ago, he announced he is once again short GameStop. One could argue Andrew wanted to short GameStop again, this time successfully, to redeem himself from 2021 and his reputation. It would be a little funny if history ends up repeating itself, and it would be really funny if the 25% short float of GameStop ends up having to cover their position and there is an epic squeeze. Now, are there some technicalities to this squeeze? GameStop is not short 100, over 150% like it was last time. Yes, and those are old technicalities. But if we just take a look at it from a high view, if GameStop stays above $20 or, $40, $50 by the end of June 21st, when Roaring Kitty's calls expire, he's going to get closer to $1 billion off of 50,000. And the reason he's going to do that is because he found a way to architect the system in a way that very few people in retail have ever done. Now, let's talk about this part of the GameStop saga. A lot of people are saying, all right, well, this is manipulation. This is, at this point, he is absolutely pumping and dumping, yada, yada, yada. I think all of those people are wrong. And quite frankly, I've heard some good takes on this morning. Nothing is illegal about what he is doing if you buy your calls, your stock, whatever it may be, and you publicly show them. Now, the key differentiator here is Roaring Kitty has been, I believe, amassing this position for a very long time, but he finally went public with the position close to expiration. And if he went public with the expiration close, or he went public with the position close to the expiration, he's not actually pumping and dumping it. He also never said to buy the stock. It's been movie clips and memes and making fun of like random CNBC talking heads, right? All these little videos he's posted. He has never once said buy GameStop. I think the reason he's not live streaming on YouTube is because that's the reason the SEC got him back in 2021, because he was so publicly in his videos, like basically saying, but not saying buy GameStop. Now with this tweets, I think he architected an incredibly brilliant plan. He let 2022 play out. He let 2023 recovery, come to fruition. He let interest rates get as high as they were. He saw what the market sort of macro, take was. And then he saw the short position rise on GameStop. And by 2024, it seems like he decided this was the right time to do it. Tweets, no signals, no buy, no on CNBC. Hey, you guys, no talking to Wall Street Journal. He's just being a normal guy going all in on a stock. And now he's disclosed that he's all in on a stock. And I don't think the SEC can get him for that. Jensen was pumping Dell. So that's incredibly correct by Jed Luke in the chat. Like, this is my point. And I think everyone to an extent has to agree with this. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen with GameStop. I don't know what's going to happen with the stock. I don't know how many people are going to give him exit liquidity buying this thing at 60, 70, $80. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll find out in about 30 minutes how this at least starts to play out. But I do know that historically, people with power have created narratives around positions that they have in the stock market, whether they are implicitly or explicitly doing that, whether they're CEOs or whether they're hedge fund managers, whether they're mainstream personalities. They've done the same thing that he's doing today, and they have to try a lot harder. All he had to do was press tweet. And now people are like, well, he has a big following. Well, why does he have a big following? Why does he have 1.4 million followers? How did he go from 500,000 followers, or actually 350,000 followers, to 1.4 million in 2 weeks, which is very difficult to do. Attention is the most important currency on this planet. It is not easy to get 1 million people to listen to you. It's not easy to get 10 people to care about you. He got attention because people are so fed up with how the system operates in terms of mainstream media, that he was able to capitalize on that attention and use that attention to his advantage. And I think any article that comes out saying he is a threat to the stock market, he is a threat to the broader sanctity of the markets, those people have a sense of narcissism and elitism that is so overpressing. It's like a kid who goes to an Ivy League school and says, that they can't find a job. It's like, dude, we know you're going to be fine. We know your Harvard degree is going to make sure that you are good for the rest of your life. And so this idea that they would complain that this guy is the problem versus the other aspects of the financial system, I think is absolute ludicrous. And I think it's pretty damn incredible to see a retail trader do what he's doing. And I just have a lot of respect for how he's pulling this off. Now, the question is, how is he actually going to pull this off? How is he actually going to pull this off? And I think that comes to a question of liquidity. So let's talk a little bit about that. GameStop right here is up 71% in the pre-market. And ultimately, he has to dump these shares at one point to profit. I mean, he has $5 million worth of, 5 million shares. I actually don't think he's going to sell those shares. I think the calls are where he gets rich. And I think the shares is what he's using to prove to people that he's serious about having a position in the company. Market cap right now of GameStop, $7 billion. Stock is $39.70. Remember, those $20 calls, you got to be above that strike, getting closer to June 21st before expiration. Maybe he sells the calls right before expiration. It's going to be interesting, and we're probably going to be able to see this play out given how big of a position he has. It's going to be obvious when he buys or sells or holds on to it. So I think he's going to need liquidity. And the question becomes here, the sort of existential question around GameStop becomes, will the market provide him liquidity? Will the market actually provide him liquidity. We'll talk about Robinhood in a second. Give me 2 more minutes on this, and then we'll get to Robinhood. Here's the thing. I don't know, and as much as my rant was philosophical about how I'm supportive of what Warren Kitty is doing from a macro perspective, I don't know if he's going to get the liquidity needed to actually get those calls to either be exercised or to be able to sell them on the open market. By the way, who would actually buy those calls? I mean, well, at some level, maybe even if retail can't afford to buy them, the market makers are going to have to buy them, right? Because that's how it works out sometimes. But it's going to be interesting. I think he's going to need this thing to stay above around $40-50 to really build the momentum into this position and really exit in a way that makes him just filthy freaking rich, at least on the option side. And so for the next 2 weeks, can this thing, it seems like he's giving himself 2 weeks to let this thing play out. The question is, can it play out? And I think it has a shot, but we're going to figure out pretty soon where it goes. Garcia says, don't underestimate the number of degens buying the top. Well, that is potentially true. Maybe this is the top. Maybe it's not. A lot of people have been saying that they think something's going on in GameStop. And honestly, congrats to the people that have stuck with the thesis. I mean, even people that bought at 40-50, I don't know if you're going to break even. I don't know if it gets there again, but they held because they felt something was happening. They did not feel Warren Kitty was tweeting and then leaving after a week for no purpose. And for those that did believe and didn't take the L and held on to those shares, you're up at least even today, if not a little bit higher than break even, which is nice to see. Now is the question of just, can the momentum continue to really make this continue going? Chris CRM says, good for all those buying GameStop, AMC, crypto, etc. But for me, I'll stick to buying great companies priced at a discount and then holding for a long time. Yes. And let me just say unequivocally, I agree with the philosophy. There's a reason I'm not in GameStop. There's a reason I'm not in AMC. You guys know my plays, and I've documented those plays pretty publicly throughout the better half of 2 years now. And the reason that I'm in the plays that I'm in is because I think there is hopefully a thesis around a company that I believe in. And I actually believe in the company. I don't genuinely believe in GameStop or AMC or management or how they're going. I mean, they don't even do an earnings call, for goodness sake, right? Like, so there's a lot of problems with it. But I also do believe that other people, I mean, for goodness sakes, guys, Warren Buffett got permission for 8 months to not disclose that he was accumulating Chubb Limited. Now, the reason Chubb Limited is not up 70% of the pre-market is because it's Chubb Limited. Who the fuck, like, who cares about Chubb Limited? Like, there's no excitement or momentum or anything like that. And that's the reason why Buffett was buying it. It's a boring insurance business, but it has cash flows. And the SEC said, no problem, Buffett, do what you got to do. We don't want there to be market manipulation by people knowing your position. How is it not the same that Warren Kitty is accumulating GameStop? That would obviously make, people excited to buy GameStop. And he just silently decided to not tell people until it was finally time to disclose. It's the same thing as Buffett's doing. It's just Buffett has explicit permission, so there's no chance he's going to get in trouble. This is what I think is going on right now, and that's why I am a fan of what he's doing. The actual thesis on the companies, I'm not a fan of, and I've said that for the better half of a month since this whole saga started. But it is exciting as hell to cover. It'll make you wake up at freaking 3:45 a.m. after not really sleeping in California and get ready to cover this, even though you said you weren't going to go live. I also was last night, as soon as I saw this whole play out, I was like, I have to go live. I was like, there's no way I can't do the market open today. So it's like sometimes the news is just so crazy. You have to do it. But like the whole point of this is it's fun. It's exciting. We're going to see how it plays out. And sometimes we need to break down what's happening right in front of us. And this seems to be happening. Okay, so that was a lot of GameStop. That was 18 minutes and 20 seconds on GameStop. Hope everyone is doing good. Let's talk about some of the other plays that are happening right now in the markets that are creating some momentum. Let me just finish this here. Let's finish these timestamps, make sure it's good. So we got GameStop. And let's move on to the next thing. For those that are asking where I am, I'm in California. I'm here for work this week. You guys will find out later this week where I'm at. But I'm at a friend's house right now, and I didn't think, I didn't want to annoy them and like go live in the morning. But then I was like, hey, I kind of got to go live in the morning. Like, this is just insane. Was there a Pound 2 Weekly? There wasn't, because my flight was super early on Saturday. So Friday night, I just like knocked out. Honestly, I haven't slept a lot in the past couple of days. So, but we still got to be here. We just absolutely have to be here. Here we go. Let's talk about Robinhood. So GameStop right now, $40 in the pre-market. Robinhood is up 4.55%, $21.85. I have hopefully documented the story of Robinhood nicely for people over the past 8 months. It has been a hell of a story. And you know what? Life is all about stories. Life is all about the way stories play out. And life sometimes needs good storytellers to continue telling those stories. And hopefully I have tried to tell this story effectively. The reason Robinhood is at $21.87 right now, 4.64%, it broke 22 last week, is because all of the action that's happening on GameStop, or at least I would say a good chunk of it, is happening on Robinhood. And that can't be undermined. The market can't undermine that. The market already kind of knows. The algorithms probably are sophisticated enough to realize how it's a proxy play for GameStop. GameStop is one of the top 10 holdings on Robinhood. I am not proud to say that because I don't think it's necessarily the best company, but it is one of the top stocks on the Robinhood Investor Index that is disclosed every single month at the start of the month. Let's actually see if June was released. Let's go to it right now. No, last time it was updated was May. So let me show you this right here. This is the last time it was updated. It was May. And so the point is, if GameStop is one of the top 10 holdings on Robinhood across the platform, these are the top 10 stocks: Amazon, Microsoft, Ford, Tesla, Meta, GameStop, Disney, Apple, and yes, DJT. It is there. The Steve Quirk, the chief brokerage officer's argument for why DJT is there is because he said, well, some people take a little small part of their position and they have a little fun with it. I think that was a good response, but I don't know if that's necessarily the best answer, because maybe there's just a lot of people that use Robinhood that love Trump and they're supporting Trump. It is what it is, but these are the top 10 positions. Here's how this relates to Robinhood in a variety of ways. If GameStop ends the quarter, because this is the last month of the quarter, right? April, May, June. Yeah, last month of the quarter, at let's say $50, $60, right? Some ridiculous number. The assets under custody on Robinhood on a top 10 position, by the way, NVIDIA is a top 10 position as well. That did great. So that's going to help their assets under custody. Apple's going back up. GameStop is going to positively impact the overall AUC that Robinhood has. That's the first way this benefits. Number two, and I shared this morning, Robinhood was number 27 on the US iOS App Store for finance last night. Okay. Now they are number 17. And they moved up 10 spots in less than 24 hours. That is not an easy thing to do. If GameStop gets to 45, 50, 60 bucks, a lot of people are going to be Googling, how do I buy GameStop? Dumb Money, the movie is going to come up. What happened with 2021 in GameStop? They're going to start binging Vlad Tenev interviews from years ago. The organic traffic on Robinhood is going to hit all-time highs, just like it hit back in May when they peaked at number 80 on the entire US App Store. And then there you go. You're going to start to get a lot more momentum for Robinhood. Now, again, Vlad told us last time, he tweeted this back on May 14th at 9 p.m. I'm ready with the kitty emoji. What did I miss? That was the day where GameStop, I think, went to like $50 or something. And so I've been pretty explicit about this. If Robinhood can make sure everything goes smoothly, they don't mess up, they don't take away the buy button, none of that crazy nonsense, then Robinhood is going to benefit a lot from this. A lot of brokerages already have not been able to handle the volatility. E-Trade last time, and in 22 minutes, we're going to really see if the brokerages are ready for this, including Robinhood. If they can handle this, I think Vlad is signaling that he's ready for the volatility. They have $5 billion in cash. He knows that this is their time to capitalize on the momentum, and they're going to do what they have to do. So I think Robinhood is going to be a main beneficiary from their assets under custody and their overall downloading growth in terms of numbers. Number three, June tends to be a crappy month for the stock market. Now, we'll talk about a macro piece of data in a little bit, but May, if you guys were part of the market close, the S&P 500 went from 518 to 528 in a matter of almost like 20 minutes. And the S&P 500 ended up 5% higher than it was to start the month. That's insanity, right? Why is that insanity? Because the S&P 500, if it ends 5% higher month to date in the month of May, on average, the rest of the year is up 8%, and June ends up being green. This happened about 6 out of 7 times previously in history. So if that's the case and the S&P just swerps up to 5% by the end of May, I mean, it's not guaranteed, but it's just like, wow, people really wanted to buy the dip. Tom Lee also said on Friday that if there is any dip, it is a dip to buy in this macroeconomic environment. We got PCE data that came in line with expectations. The Fed knows that it's going to start coming down. Oil prices got to $76. Right now, they're at $76.75. They're down another 0.31% as we get into the market open. And it seems like inflation is coming down. Why does all of this matter? All of this matters in the context of Robinhood, because if June ends up not being a crappy month, if June ends up being a really strong month, and CPI comes in with a, maybe not a 2 handle, but a 3.1, 3.2, if the Fed makes it obvious that they're going to cut rates because they see the trend of inflation coming down, all of that makes June a good month, makes Q2 a good month, and keeps the momentum going for Robinhood. Why does Robinhood need the momentum? Because they're a cyclical company. If the market tanks, crypto tanks, Robinhood tanks, and somehow the market has been maintaining momentum, and not just the market maintaining momentum, the catalyst that Robinhood has been creating has maintained its momentum as well. And so I think all of those things are going to benefit Robinhood, and we'll see how that plays out a little bit later throughout the rest of the day. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. So funny how Amit says all the time, Robinhood benefits of everything crypto and now the hype for GameStop. Yeah, I mean, again, the Robinhood is one of those key companies, and I couldn't have predicted this, in the beginning when I started covering them back in November of 2023, but I didn't know they would be at the epicenter of all of these catalysts, plus their own product innovations, plus a buyback of $1 billion. I didn't think that was going to happen, but I did think crypto was going to benefit them, and that was my initial thesis. And now so many other things are helping, and they've capitalized on momentum by actually creating products and services that people want, like 1% deposit match. By the way, that's rolling out. Here's another thing. Robinhood's 1% universal deposit match is officially rolling out in 2 weeks. We got a confirmation of that on Friday. Assets under custody for retirement just went up to $8 billion. I mean, there's there's just a lot of catalysts happening here for Robinhood. I think the market realizes that. And so we'll see how this plays out. But 1% deposits getting ready to come out. And I think that momentum is going to continue for Robinhood. All right. So that's the updates on Robinhood. And that's what we're seeing right now as well. He forgot to bring the brick wallpaper along. I didn't think I would be doing the show, quite frankly, but you guys know how much I love the show, and it sucked that I wasn't going to do the show. But last night, I think, was the kick in the ass I needed to make sure the show constantly will have to go on. And so that's why we're here. How's the 6 a.m. Pacific Coast wake up time, Amit? Haha, good morning. So I woke up at 3 a.m. Pacific, or 3:30, and I just was like, all right, we're ready to go. I told you guys last week, like my circadian rhythm has started to get to the point where I just naturally wake up every day at around 6:30. And so I guess basically waking up at 3:30 today in California, it's basically 6:30 New Jersey time, right? So it worked out pretty well, and we have good Wi-Fi here. So now we're here. Now we have 20 minutes until this market opens. How are you talking so fast at 6 a.m. Pacific in my system at 2x? Ugh, I can't even think as fast as you talk. There's this thing called blow. And I'm not talking about, the stock price that is blowing away for Snowflake. There's something else called blow. And it really helps with making. No, I'm just kidding. This is just real energy, bro. This is insanity. This is crazy. This is crazy. Like, can you all believe this shit is happening? This is freaking crazy right now. And because this is happening, it's just like I tweeted yesterday. This is what I tweeted yesterday underneath the GameStop thing. And then we'll move on to some other macro stuff we've got going on. But the market opened in about 18 minutes. So I tweeted, I was at a bar yesterday. And literally, I was just like, you know what? Screw this. I was at the bar and I was like, we are going live. So this is where I was at. I'm in California at a cool bar, and I was going to miss market open tomorrow, but forget that. Show goes on. We'll be back and we'll be here. California has like really pretty people. There's a lot of pretty people in this state. I'll say that. And they've got the pretty palm trees and the beach. And it's just like, it's New Jersey beaches can't compare. Now, I don't think I would move here. I wouldn't move here, but New Jersey beaches cannot compare to California. It's just absolutely incredible. Will you be live tomorrow? Okay, so tomorrow I can't. Tomorrow I have another flight, so there's literally no way I can be live tomorrow. So yeah, definitely not going tomorrow no matter what, even if this thing pumps to like $3,000. Because tomorrow early morning I'm gonna be gone. But today at least we'll be here and we'll try to break down what's happening. All right, so we got Robinhood at 21.75. We got Apple at 192. S&P 500 is up 0.24%, 528. In the pre-markets, DJT is up 0.8%. Again, Donald Trump's company went through a lot of volatility. If you saw the UFC fight last night, Trump was welcomed with open arms by a stadium of 50,000 people. It seemed like, at least in that part of the country, they were, happy that Trump was alive and doing well, and they didn't really care that he became a convicted felon. And as a result of that, he's continuing to gain momentum, and maybe that'll affect his stock along with some of the other momentum catalysts from the overall DGen portfolio, which we haven't clicked on in a while. Let's click on it right now. Faraday Future up 24%. Mullen down 1%. Beyond Meat up 4%. Spirit Airlines up 1%. Hollow up 13%. Tupperware up 8%. Plug Power up 4%. None of these companies would be up, make no mistake about it, if GameStop wasn't up 70%. The entire market is getting to a point where all of these stocks feel as if they have momentum, because if like the big daddy one, just like Nvidia is to what Nvidia is to the semis, GameStop is to the DGen stocks, and GameStop is creating the catalyst for those companies to go up. Reddit right now up 5.75%. Why is Reddit going up? Because Roaring Kitty disclosed his position on Reddit. All of that advertising, all of that momentum, just like it's happening to Robinhood, is happening to Reddit. Also, one thing I want to say quickly is a lot of people are like, well, wait a second. These companies don't have sustainable momentum, right? Like just because Reddit's going up right now and getting all this traction, or Robinhood's getting this traction, it's not sustainable. I think that's a lazy intellectual take. And the reason that's a lazy intellectual take is because what I've started realizing about the stock market is that every company is priced based on its ability to succeed when momentum momentum is on its side. Meaning, if Coinbase doesn't go up and doesn't have transactional volumes when crypto is going to the moon, then what's the point of Coinbase? Doesn't mean it's a great long-term investment because of how cyclical it is. Maybe not, but it does mean there are moments in time, and those moments in time might be more than 2 or 3 weeks. It might end up being 2 or 3 years where cycles happen, just like, the electric vehicle cycle that necessarily, I don't want to say is topped, but even Elon has said hybrids are becoming more popular. But there was a cycle back in 2019 where it was getting a lot of momentum. What's happening right now with the meme stocks is just a cycle that is going to benefit Robinhood, is going to benefit Reddit. If Bitcoin goes to 100,000, it's going to benefit Robinhood and Coinbase. It's going to benefit the clean sparks of the world. So when the momentum is there and you're a company and you can't take advantage of the momentum, I feel like what's the point of even being a public company if the whole point is for you to take advantage of the momentum? When CBS has the Super Bowl, if they can't monetize the Super Bowl, which is like the biggest day of advertising for them, why is Viacom stock even worth anything? These are the moments where they need to capitalize. And I think that's what some of these stocks are doing, and the market's obviously reflecting that. MicroStrategy up 4.56%, CleanSpark up 3%, Coinbase up 2.7%. I actually looked at all the Bitcoin miners on Sunday, and apparently, all the Bitcoin miners have not had a good year. I actually thought they had a good year outside of CleanSpark, which is up about 24% year to date. If you look at the miners on a year to date basis, all of them are down. They're down 40%, 30%, marathons, I think down 25%. And that actually shocked me. I did not expect to see all of the miners. Quite frankly, I thought they were all up close to 70% year to date. And I realized over the past year, they're up. But that means you have to buy when no one cared. If you bought in, February, March, when people cared, you're down, right? Because the cat was out of the bag, and you probably bought at least a short-term top, which was at the time. So the miners have not been the best trade to be in this year. Unless you were in CleanSpark, or unless you were at, the bottom of CleanSpark at $5, $6, the miners actually haven't been the best trade yet. It's because of the dilution, as Garcia says, 100%. It's because of the dilution. It's because of the shelf offerings. It's because of the at-the-money offerings, like a CleanSpark with $250 million, which was 25% of their market cap at the time. And it's been tough for shareholders to absorb that. And Bitcoin not necessarily going to the moon yet means the halving sort of thesis hasn't really played out in terms of the miners benefiting from it. But at least the miners haven't collapsed, even though Bitcoin hasn't gone to the moon, because it's still maintained that $68,000 to $70,000 level. And now we just have to see if it can keep going there to continue to let the miners gain momentum. But so far, the miners have not been the best. Not this year. Who's had their coffee so far this morning? I haven't had my coffee. I don't even know how to drink coffee, dude. I need my caramel latte. I did have a dulce de leche latte yesterday. It was I've never had a dulce de leche latte, but I guess California has dulce de leche lattes. That was really good. Muhammad says Amit's brain is faster than his mouth. It's wild. Dude, this is just crazy. This is absolutely insane. This is just ridiculous. This is just incredible. All right, let's see CNBC and if they're talking. I saw a little bit of what they were saying in the morning. Let's see if we can get some of their coverage and then keep going from there. It's 9:18 right now. Okay, so it's 9:18. We have the market open in just a little bit. And we're going to see how this plays out. What are you trying to say? Dulce de leche? Yeah, it's how do you say it? Dulce de leche. I'm not even messing. I'm that's how you say it, right? Dulce de leche. I need to have authentic Mexican food. That is a fact. I absolutely do need to have authentic Mexican food. Okay, so let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Let's see if we have something here. If we have some coverage here. Oh, wow. Oh, all the NVIDIA news too, bro. Jensen declared a new chip. It's just insane. Okay, so let me see if I can pull this up in particular. Okay, this one's, I'm gonna have to pull this up in a second. Yeah, so the Jensen stuff. I think we should talk about the NVIDIA stuff. I am not fully updated with the NVIDIA stuff, but I know a little bit about what's happening. And so let me pull up what my boy Jose tweeted about it. It seems like, and that's why NVIDIA is up right now in the pre-market. It seems like NVIDIA is not messing around when it comes to forming their next GPU cluster. And as a result of that, they have essentially capitalized on what they are calling Rubin. Rubin is their next generation of chips. So Hopper, Blackwell, Rubin. Again, I don't really fully understand what a Rubin is yet, but what the street is saying is that this is really beneficial. Bank of America upgraded NVIDIA to $1,500 from $1,350. And Jensen obviously said some stuff at the Computex 2024 conference that got people really excited about what's going on with NVIDIA. And that's why the market is pumping NVIDIA as well. So it's really interesting to see how that's playing out. Jensen's hype of Dell makes me question his credibility. I don't think Jensen is hyping Dell to hype Dell. I think Jensen actually believes that Dell is going to have a beneficiary role in terms of the server growth. Now, remember, we went through Dell's earnings last week. They increased their backlogs by 30% to $3 billion, and they shipped 100% year-over-year growth on servers alone. The problem with Dell and why it collapsed is Dell's operating margins were essentially zero. We'll go to Dell right now on the server growth. That's Dell's at 140, Dell was at 139, and it fell from like 160, as you can see right here, 185 to 131 because the operating margins were flat, or not even flat. I mean, like they just weren't there, right? So now management said, hey, the operating margins will come, it'll expand. Bank of America also said, we think the margins are going to be there. If the margins are there, this is still a story that I think can play out. And I don't think this is like a story that's dead, because if Rubin, which is the next evolution of what NVIDIA believes comes after Blackwell, continues to grow and the demand, and here's the big multi-$100 trillion question over the next decade of our lifetime on this planet Earth, is NVIDIA's demand going to expand or is it going to top? And if it keeps expanding, if AI actually is larger than the freaking internet, then Dell's going to benefit. SMCI is going to benefit. NVIDIA is obviously going to benefit. AMD is the story is not done at all. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But NVIDIA's announcements yesterday, I think, were really important, even though I didn't get a chance to watch that conference. And that's why it's up 35 points right now, up 3.22%. The dip on NVIDIA last week seems to have been eaten up because people continue to want exposure within NVIDIA. Oh, Salesforce. Let's talk a little bit about Salesforce. So CRM, really interesting right here, 235, up a little bit in the pre-markets. This was up 8%. And the reason it was up is because the market kind of realized, well, Salesforce does have $6.1 billion in free cash flow. Maybe we should take them a little bit more seriously. I'm still skeptical of if this AI thing is real for Salesforce. And, maybe Salesforce doesn't need to be an AI play to keep doing what it needs to do. But I think the re-rating it got from 270 down to 212 was, at 212, it actually, we looked at the EPS compared to SAP, Adobe, et cetera, or not the EPS, the price to earnings, and it was the lowest out of all those, even on a 2026 basis. It was at like 21. Everything else was around 27, 28. So it's like, okay, it made sense there. At 234, does it still make sense? You got to really believe in it. But is there an AI catalyst propelling this? I don't know. I'm still very skeptical of that. And as a result of that, it makes it hard for me to get excited about the stock. Snowflake right here, up a little bit in the pre-market. Snowflake, unfortunately, a little bit of news on Snowflake as well. Don't bet against Benioff. I agree. I wouldn't bet against Benioff, but I do think the AI offering has to be more supreme. And maybe I'm just too ignorant to understand their AI offering, but I don't think CRM gets the multiple that they want to get if there is really not some AI momentum. Because at the end of the day, the CRM market is just too saturated because they've dominated it. So they have to either buy a company or they have to really have an upsell, which is AI. And I'm not sure if they have others, but I wouldn't bet against Benioff. Now, Snowflake had a security breach over the past couple of days that has not been good. Snowflake says they're currently investigating this. That's actually why I think the stock fell on Friday. Again, someone always knows. Someone always knows. And on Friday, I was wondering, the whole market was red. Dude, the S&P 500 literally, went up to freaking, from 518 to 527. And Snowflake wouldn't go up. And that's because it seems like they had a data breach. They're going to be investigating that with CrowdStrike. They also have a conference this week. Now, we have some breaking news on Snowflake as well. Snowflake unveils Polaris catalog and emphasizes commitment to interoperability with AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, Salesforce, and more. Polaris catalog by Snowflake. What the hell is Polaris catalog? What is this? All right, so we're going to search this right now and see what we get. Snowflake just announced a new feature called Polaris Catalog. Essentially, it makes it easier for enterprises to connect. This literally was tweeted like 10 minutes ago from this account. This is my boy Shay. To connect and synchronize with popular tools like AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud. Now, I love Shay, but does this tweet look exciting to you? Again, Shay, I love you. I just did Shay's podcast last week. It's probably going to come out in a little bit. But Shay, come on, bro. This is not like... Snow just announced a new feature called Polaris Catalog. What is that movie? Polar Express? That's what this is like. What are we talking about here? What is Polaris Catalog? It sounds like Vingardia Levioso or some shit from Harry Potter, dude. Like, what is this, dude? This is not exciting. See, this is the problem. Because Snowflake with this Polaris Catalog announcement is trying to make it seem like something matters. Dude, the reason the stock is down, not only because of the cybersecurity breach, which every company has cybersecurity breaches, right? I don't think that's like the biggest deal in the world, even though that is a bad thing. The reason I don't think it's recovering is because the market might be thinking it's just a data lakehouse. I could be wrong, and there is a massive AI moat underneath the data lakehouse. It's just I've talked to what I think are very smart, intelligent people in the industry in data science and data analytics. We got the market open in 5 minutes. And I tend to trust their opinion a little bit more than some of the top shareholders of Snowflake that kind of wanted this thing to pump since 2021 because it's a darling of Wall Street. And I just don't trust the darling of Wall Street anymore. I just don't. And as a result of that, I think Snowflake is in a little bit of a tough situation right now. So that's what we got on Snowflake, 137.57. Is it a bit undervalued? Probably doesn't deserve to be at this level, but I think, the thesis is a little bit in question right now. And by the way, we'll talk more about Palantir in a bit. Palantir right here, 21.75 in the pre-market. Palantir's thesis will also be in question if they do not execute in Q2 in terms of top line growth, because the market has already re-rated SaaS names. They're continuing to give Palantir the premium at $48 billion market cap because it's Palantir. Like, it's cool, right? Like, they believe the $500 million contract we got last week. Like, they just know Palantir is different than all the other guys. As long as Palantir can, I think, raise guidance from 21% to about 22, 23% and continue to prove the boot camps are paying off, customer conversions paying off, all that stuff, and everything we've seen over the past couple of months pretty much confirms that's happening, then I think they're going to be in a strong spot going into Q2. Where is Robinhood right now? Wow, Robinhood, $21.90 in the pre-market. We got 4 minutes until the market opens. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Now, Alex Karp was at the annual Bilderberg meetings. I did a video on this on my channel 2 years ago. It was the first time I covered this. Bilderberg is pretty incredible. It sounds like Build-A-Bear, right? But it's Bilderberg, and Bilderberg is these meetings that are for the most elite people in society. Basically, think of it as the Met Gala for power. Karp and Thiel have been accumulating or going to this, attending this conference for several years now. And so this is Matthias Dofer. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. CEO of Axel Springer, which uses Palantir software. They're one of the largest German media companies. And Karp walking into the Bilderberg meetings. Now, why does this matter? They discuss some of the most highly selective and secretive things in the world. Zero press is allowed. I mean, some press is allowed, but a majority of press is not allowed inside the forum. And Karp has been going for about 5-6 years now, maybe even longer than that. And the reason he was there, or the reason he's been there, is because he's one of the most important people on the planet, along with Peter Thiel. Sam Altman and Peter Thiel did a video back in 2018 when they were walking through the streets of, I think, Italy at the time, where the meetings were at or something. And the press was trying to get them to answer these questions. And you could just tell that the reason Thiel was with Sam is because he knew that Sam was working on some of the most important technology of all time, which ended up being ChatGPT. And Thiel, who co-founder Palantir, also working on AI. And so maybe it makes sense why Palantir rolled out AIP. They kind of understood where the world was going. It's like these meetings are for the most elite people in society. And it's nice to see that Karp's there. My take on this 2 years ago, people were like, oh, don't you think it's so weird that Karp's going to this secret meeting and he's away from the press and yada, yada, yada. Don't you think it's kind of weird? And I'm like, yo, the way the world is becoming and the way I am getting older and trying to understand how the world is becoming is that you're either in the party or you're outside of the party. You're either in the club or you're outside of the club. And at some point, I think growing up and maturing, genuinely, I believe this, growing up and maturing, and a lot of people that I know from my past have not grown up and matured, in my opinion, is they complain too much about the fact that the party's even happening. Damn, that was a bar, dude. That was this is my brain in the morning without any sleep. But people are complaining that the party is happening rather than saying, hey, how the hell do I get in? And for Karp, if you're invested in that guy, I want him to be at the party. I want Thiel to be at the party. I want them to have a say. I want them to have the power. I want them to have the ability to speak and get their points of view across, because if it's not them, it's someone else. And I trust Karp way more than I trust a lot of other tech leaders, quite frankly. And that's why I'm happy to invest in Palantir. And I'm also happy that he is the guy to get this job done. And he should be at the Bilderberg meetings. All right, folks. So I do have the cowbell. I'm going to be respectful of ringing it because I'm in an apartment and there's other people sleeping. So it's going to be not the biggest bell. But I will ring the bell. It'll be a little twinkle of a bell because I still have to, I have to respect the fact that people are doing what they're doing. And they're, sleeping. They don't give a shit about a bell this morning. We got 30 seconds. This is going to be crazy, dude. I don't even know what to expect. This is going to be absolute insanity, but this is going to happen. And let's see. It's so cool to cover the stock market, dude. Thank you all for being here. It makes life worth living. It's super, super fun. I really appreciate everyone here. I'm happy you guys come to me to get some coverage, and hopefully it's fun, entertaining. You can feel the energy, and we can cover the stock market. All right, GameStop's loaded up. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday, June 3rd, 9:30 a.m. The stock market is now open. That was the worst bell ring of all time, but like I'm trying to be a good person here. Wake your asses up. Here we go. GameStop opens up 72%, $39.87 on the day. There we go, up 72%, $40 right now. Let's see how the momentum holds, but the buy orders have come in. I'm pretty sure people are exiting. They're taking their exit liquidity. They're selling the stock. We're going to see how quickly this thing gets halted as well. Robinhood, wow, it's up 5.8% as soon as the market opens. Robinhood, $22.24, up 6.4% on the day. Robinhood obviously being a main beneficiary of the GameStop momentum. People are buying the stock. Robinhood is up right now, $22.19 on the day. Nvidia is up 3.3%. Salesforce is up another 1.35%. They were up 7.8% yesterday on Friday. So that's really good for people who bought the Salesforce dip. GameStop up 71%. S&P 500 up 0.26. Apple 193. WWDC is in 1 week. If Apple unveils an iPhone powered by AI, it seems like the market is going to get excited about Apple once again. Bank of America at 52-week highs at $40.11. DJT is up 0.36%. Amazon 177. Google 174. Bitcoin trying to get back to 70,000. Dude, if Bitcoin gets to 70,000 while everything else is pumping as well, that's going to be exciting to see. Bitcoin right now 69,840. It's about $140 away. Can it get to 70 for the 5th time at this point and maintain it? We'll see. But that's what we have right now. GameStop is halted. GameStop is halted. Let's go to AMC. And let's see if that's halted. GameStop, wow, not even 1 minute and GameStop gets halted. AMC is not halted. AMC is up 22%. Spotify is pumping as well. The reason Spotify is pumping is because they raised their prices on subscriptions. That's why Spotify is pumping. Robinhood now back down from $22. So we had a little bit of resistance at $22.24, now at $21.90. Palantir is red on the day, $21.62. Snowflake is slightly green. AMC up 24%. Let's see what the other stocks are doing that are in the meme category. Let's go to those. All right. So we see a majority of them green, as you can see on the left-hand side of my screen. Robinhood now $22. Beyond Meat up 3%. Save. Spirit Airlines up 3%. Hollow up 9%. Reddit is up 5%. BlackBerry is up 3%. Plug Power is up 3%. Tupperware Brands is up 5%. Virgin Galactic is up 2.93%. GameStop is continuing to be halted while the rest of these stocks go higher. It'll be interesting to see how quick GameStop gets unhalted and what's going to happen. And maybe the halting might have been because there were too many sellers, right? It can get halted to the upside or the downside. We saw the red candle right there from $40 to $38. Maybe there's too many people trying to sell. And so as soon as it unhalted, it immediately tanks downward. We'll see how many buy orders are there left to save it, but we'll also see if people are actually selling or buying it when it continues to keep going. Amit has somehow started to speak faster. Yep, we just like this is the Super Bowl, dude. Like we got to get through so many things. All right, Tesla. What's Tesla doing right now? So Tesla 180 up 1.15%. The fact that Tesla's even $180 to me is absolutely incredible. So I'm happy that Tesla is at this point. I mean, at one point it was at 140. That seemed to be the obvious bottom. Tesla, and it was not obvious to me. I'm not going to say that, but it is back here at 180. And I think now August 8th is going to be the defining day, which is only 2 months away, dude. We're in June. We are literally in the 6th month of the year. This year is flying by. And we've got 2 months left until Tesla unveils the Robotaxi, which is going to be incredible. Where's Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin still trying to get to 70,000? Because that's another catalyst for Robinhood. Bitcoin right here, 69,743. I think, to answer the question for a lot of people that are like, why is this guy obsessed with Robinhood? It's because I just don't think there's ever been a stock that has been in the center of so many catalysts and also had a CEO that capitalized on those catalysts this year with all the product innovations. And it's just been an incredible journey to cover it and see how it's playing out. And we'll see, they've got a long time to continue to execute, but this is their moment to execute. And if they keep doing it, I think it's going to be exciting. And it's just amazing to see management keep operating. I saw the CFO, or I listened to the CFO speak at a conference on Friday. He sounded pretty damn confident about what they're doing. GameStop still halted. Another conference is going to be happening on June 5th. I think he was at the Deutsche Bank or JP Morgan conference. They asked him about credit cards. They asked him about margin. They asked him about buybacks. And his answer was just like, we are having a really good year. And we're continuing to capitalize on the momentum. And that's why we want to reward shareholders. We want to cut margin because we want to reward our users. And we want to also unveil the credit card. It might be a little slower than people expected, but because we're trying to do it in the right way. And so I think Robinhood is in the right direction right now. Okay, those GameStop calls. Let's look at that. So the GameStop calls, wow, guys, here it goes. The GameStop calls are at $20. It looks like Roaring Kitty. So these are the calls he bought. $20 call, June 21st. It's at $20. The open interest is at 145,000. I think the open interest, if I'm not wrong, was at 147,000. So it already went down 2,000. I could be wrong on that, but I think I saw 147,000 this morning. So 2,000 contracts might have been eliminated. But I think his position, he bought these calls when they were $5 or under. So he's already sitting on a 5X on these calls right now if he were to unload them. Now, if he were to exercise these calls, that's a good question. I actually don't know if he were to exercise these calls, what happens, because I think the market makers have to give him those shares. And given the short float and given the people that sold those calls, they have to try to grab those shares from the people that sold those calls. Here's the funny thing. This is why you have to sell covered calls. If you sold those calls without a cover, meaning you didn't buy the calls to cover your position or you didn't buy the stock, you have to buy 100 shares of stock to cover one covered call contract, you're out of luck, bro. And one could argue the market makers shorting GameStop might have sold those calls to to Roaring Kitty, because they didn't think he would get assigned, or they didn't think they would get an exercise. Robin at $22.08 right now. And as a result of that, that's also going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. Because if the market makers somehow are they have to give this guy his money, pay that man his money, right? From Rounders. See, you guys think I don't know movies? I know a little bit about movies. Then they're going to have to pay that man his money. And it's going to be interesting to see how they end up doing it. GameStop is still halted. It's been 5 minutes. That's a bit of a long halt. You would think that it would be done by now. I guess maybe it goes up another. Oh, there it is. There we go. Here we go. All right, we're back. Red candle on GameStop, 36. We're down from 38. 35.51. So you're seeing people sell. You're seeing people take their profits. It's falling. Red candle's trying to fight for some green right here. It's not really succeeding. It's still red. Still red right now. But let's see. Is he about to become a billionaire? If GameStop goes to $70, Roaring Kitty becomes a billionaire. Now, granted, he has to sell to become a official billionaire, and I don't know how he achieves this much exit liquidity. So I think there's something else. We got to see how it ends up playing out. But it does have to happen. Obsession equals conviction, 100%. I've said I know Robinhood's balance sheet better than my own life and dreams at this point, and that's because look, I made a big bet on the company. And you guys know, back when it was $8, I put 50,000 into options, and I've upped that position. I doubled down when it was at $14, and so I believe that the company can do very well, and I think it will. And all I'm doing is reporting on how they're executing. And dude, I did not expect in my wildest dreams for them to be executing like this, but they are. GameStop right now, $33, and I think you have to be that obsessed. Also, sometimes you got to make a big play in life, and in order to diversify, you have to solidify before you can diversify. And sometimes it requires taking a big ass bet when no one else, sees a vision. This is kind of what Roaring Kitty did. And if you end up being right on it, you can then set your life up for other things. So if that's the case and you got to get obsessed for a couple years about something, then that might be what you have to do. GameStop right here at 34.61. So it's down. It's not recovering. There's a little green candle trying. It bottomed at 33.34. That green candle is trying its hardest to stay green right now. But people are selling. People are taking liquidity. People are taking liquidity right now. What's happening at Celsius? Okay, so we talked about Celsius. We'll get back to GameStop in a second. Celsius is down, wow, another 6%. So last week, 3 things happened. Number 1, the Nielsen data came out that their sales are down. Number 2, a video went viral about the fact that Celsius could kill you. Not kill you, but you know what? Like if you drink too much of it, it'll really hurt you because there's so much caffeine in it versus Red Bull or Monster. And then they did a mixed shelf offering where they could dilute shareholders if they wanted to. But they haven't officially diluted, right? So those 3 things are hurting Celsius. I didn't think it would be down another 6% today. I don't know if there's any news. Let me check real quick on Twitter if there's anything there. But if not, maybe the market's just taking their profits. Oh, no, that's not news. That's not news. Yeah, no, nothing on Twitter. No news. It's just people, I guess, are exiting it. People don't want to be in the position if they think. And remember, Celsius is almost half of Monster's market cap. It's a little hard to justify it. GameStop, I think, has been halted again, especially if Celsius sales are going down, right? That's really bad for Celsius. Bitcoin 69.9. We need $100 on Bitcoin. GameStop is going back up green. Okay, so now we're green. It looked like it was halted for a second, but it's not. ELF is up 5%. Wow, look at ELF. Oh, by the way, Ulta, did you guys see that last week? ELF is up. Wow, oh my God, 5%. It's already up 35%. Then Ulta, I guess, is up like 2%. By the way, I found out this weekend. Ulta's down 1.3%. Okay, Ulta's numbers are not as good as ELF, and it already rallied after earnings, so that makes sense. I found out the difference between Ulta and ELF is Ulta is like a Target for makeup, and e.l.f. is the makeup brand. That's what I found out this weekend. And that's why there's a divergence there, because investors are betting a little bit more on the makeup brand versus just the Walmart of the makeup. And I think their go-to-market is differentiated, all that stuff. And that's why maybe e.l.f. is getting some momentum. Also, the numbers are way better than 3% year-over-year growth. e.l.f. is closer to 25. And the market cap is different. e.l.f. is at 11 billion, Ulta's at 18 billion. Okay, GameStop, $33 right now, up 45%. We're still waiting to see what's going to happen with this one. $34 right now. Oh, Path's down another 4%. Okay, so what did Cathie Wood say on Path? Let me tell you guys. Cathie Wood bought another 1.5 million shares. What she said on Path was quite interesting. So over the weekend, Cathie Wood, here's what she said. UiPath faces short-term headwinds, but our research suggests, let's pull up Path right here. Wow, Path at 1180. Our research suggests that generative artificial intelligence will be a tailwind that drives demand for their automation platform, especially as AI agents require reliable tools to perform complex tasks reliably across enterprise systems. She's not wrong on that sentence. The problem is there's so much more to just that sentence when it comes to an investment thesis on Path. And I don't think she's fully embracing that. And if that sentence is enough to buy the dip, then you believe that's enough. But that is her logic for why she should keep buying Path. Path right now, 1183. I haven't fully finished my research on Path, guys. I've been a little busy this weekend, so I'm still diving into it. But in general, I don't think anyone should be in a hurry to get into this thing. Like, it is what it is. If it's been 3 days now of straight red, I don't think the market's like, oh my God, we need to get Path on the dip. Like, the market's like, no, let's just see what happens. And so we have some time before wanting to look really deeply into this. Palantir 2170, Palantir now green on the day. Robinhood $22.10, maintaining that $22 level. Again, I think Robinhood end of year, my personal price target is $25. At one point it was 18 back in March. That changed after the gold event, and I said no, I think $25 is reasonable. They have $5 billion in cash. The enterprise value is actually not $19 billion right now, which is the market cap. It's $14 billion if you look at the enterprise value, and they're doing $1 billion in buybacks. So I think there are things here that make the company cheap. I know some people argue that it's not cheap, and you can look at it, other metrics, and say it's not cheap. I just think, look, when the trend is the trend, you don't fight the trend. When the catalysts are the catalysts, you allow excellent management to execute on those catalysts, which is what they've proved to do time and time again every single almost week this year. And on top of that, they have $5 billion in cash, which is really important. ARM is up 6.2%. Michael Wilder, what's up? Thank you for being here in the chat. ARM 6.62%. So what do we have on ARM? ARM Holdings 128 up. Wow. So ARM seems to be benefiting a lot from NVIDIA. Again, NVIDIA releasing that Rubin stuff. ARM getting momentum from there. NVIDIA's up 4% on the day. People are buying it. You know, people say it's crazy buying GameStop at $40. Who the hell is buying NVIDIA at $1,140? Is it real? What's actually that crazy? NVIDIA or GameStop? Obviously, GameStop's a little crazier in my opinion, but still, it's kind of crazy, right? Goodness gracious. So people are buying NVIDIA. They feel like there is momentum there. Same thing with GameStop. Now, GameStop's still red. It's up 40% on the day. Here's the thing. If it closes the day up 40%, I know it's not the, parabolic up 4,000% in a day, but still, that's like kind of healthy. If that's not an oxymoron for GameStop, it's like up 40%. And it closes the day up 40%. Then tomorrow goes up 5%. Then it takes its way going up another 20%. It's like a nice little rise for this thing versus going up 1,000% in a day. That's probably healthier, but we'll see if that ends up playing out for GameStop. Bitcoin's at 70. Wow. Okay, Bitcoin's $25 away. Dude, if Bitcoin gets to 70, you've got some more momentum happening today. June says NVIDIA presentation was great yesterday. People like the Taiwan conference this weekend and couldn't buy then, so they're doing now. Yeah. And again, Jensen was in Taiwan, really talking up his book, showing new products. TSM should be up right now if NVIDIA is up. TSM. Yeah, TSM, look at that, up 3%. Guys, TSM is worth $800 billion. Taiwan has somehow figured out to be the most important country on the planet, because if TSMC is gone, or if Taiwan is gone, our entire way of living ceases to exist. I mean, I think someone said it's like I think one of the Taiwan analysts was like, it's like the light bulb disappearing back in the 1800s. Like, we cannot lose. Alpha's at $200. Oh my goodness, up 7%. We cannot lose TSM. So if China wants to be China, where's Baba, by the way? Because China's been being stupid. Are investors punishing Baba? Okay, just flat on the day. If China decides to be stupid, the U.S. will go to war for TSM. Not mainly for Taiwan, but for TSM, because the U.S. at the end of the day has its own interests. But if Taiwan didn't have TSM, I don't know if the U.S. would go to war just for Taiwan. I don't know if that would happen. Amit, look at SMR. Okay, what's SMR? SMR, New Scale Power Corporation. That's down 98%. Holy crap. I hope no one was in this one. Was this what a meme stock? Was this $9? No way, dude. There's no way this thing was $9. Hold on. Let me look at this thing. There's no way this thing was $9. Those calls, by the way, the GameStop that he bought, they are now worth $14. So it went from $20 to $14. So he's up like 2.5x on the position if he bought at 5, but I think he bought under 5. Oh my God, dude. This thing was $9. Why is this down? Ron, you put this in the chat. Why is SMR down? What's the reason for that? Holy crap, dude. This thing was $7 on March 18th. It was $8 on Friday. Why is it down 95%? What happened? 95. SMR puts her up 46,000%. Okay, Bitcoin's at 70. Bitcoin's at 70, baby. Bitcoin is at $70,000. All right, so forget SMR. That's done. Bitcoin back above 70. This is beautiful. This is beautiful to see. Bitcoin at 70K. By the way, the Fed's going to start quantitative easing again. I mean, they've already started it, even if they're not cutting rates, right? But they've slowed down the pace of selling assets off the balance sheet. So we know QE is there. We know the M2 supply, I showed a chart like a month ago that the rate of growth of the M2 supply is slightly up after being in a downward trend for 2 years. Like Bitcoin thrives on liquidity, and maybe we're gonna get some liquidity, and we'll see what happens. Robinhood, $22.24, up 6.4% on the day. Again, not bad at all. It topped out at $22.40. Let's see how it continues to play out, but I do believe it is worth this much, guys, and I still do believe it is undervalued. I think people are like, it's going on an epic run. I think the run has more momentum in it. I really do. The catalyst. I mean, if we just look at math. All of this is factored into their trading volumes. All of this is factored into in their user growth. I mean, they're number 17 on the App Store, go up 10 spots in 1 month, in 1 day. Forget 1 month. It's just insane. Roaring Kitty's still up about $205 million on his position. By the way, another reason I'm super just bullish on Robinhood and what they're doing outside of being the casino for this entire show to happen. When your CEO tweets one word, accelerate. There you go. Look at that. Oh, Vlad actually responded here. When 1% match, I want to deposit like 50,000. I've been holding off. Vlad says it's coming in the next 2 weeks. I didn't actually know Vlad responded. I know Robin of the app account responded. I don't know Vlad did. So this is the type of momentum you have. You have people saying, hey, I literally have $50,000 and I'm waiting to put it into your product. And Vlad's like, I hear you, man. Give us a couple weeks. When the founder CEO can tweet one word, accelerate, to me, this mother effer is not playing around. This guy, by the way, guys, you guys want to see something funny? You're talking about being obsessed with Robinhood. Vlad's probably not going to appreciate when I tweet this, but he's gonna have a good laugh at it. He has to have a laugh at it. This is the guy who is capitalizing on everything going on right now. I found some old interviews. So Vlad's gonna have to be okay when I tweet that. But hopefully the stock is up enough for me to tweet that and him not to be too upset. Like, I think the caption's got to be like, this is the guy. Because he looks dorky in that pic, right? But it's like, this is the guy that ended up building one of the most amazing fintech companies of all time. And everyone doubted him. And for good reason. He fucked up in 2021. I'll give him that. I'll give the Bears 100% that he fucked up. But the problem with the Bears is they got emotional about that he fucked up. And they lost sight of the alpha. And the alpha was in all the hatred. Just like a lot of companies. There's, people hated NVIDIA for years. Then you don't hate NVIDIA. And I think with Palantir, which Palantir is already kind of, $6 to $21, but I think there's a lot more upside over the next decade. Wall Street still hates Palantir. It's only 40% institutional. They're fucking buying Snowflake over Palantir. And one day that's just not going to be the case. And people won't see. They're going to look up and be like, Palantir's at 45. They're like, what the hell happened? Well, something happened. Wall Street kind of figured out what a lot of other people would have figured out. And that's the name of the game in the stock market. I mean, I'm not the smartest guy in the market. GameStop getting a little green candle here at $32. But I know one thing. If you find alpha where other people aren't looking, you have an opportunity to win. And that's it. You have an opportunity to win. Garcia right here. Vlad responded to me about tax lots. Yeah, we talked about that on the Friday show. I showed you guys Garcia's tweet asking him about tax lots. And Vlad said that's coming as well. So they just have a lot of product innovations that are on the road. All right, let's try to get suits talking. We haven't listened to the suits. You guys have been listening to me. I think I look good in a suit, quite frankly. I think I clean up nice. But let's hear the suits talk about GameStop. Did they talk about it at all? Let's see. Let's try to get something here. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can pull this up. And let's see what the suits have to say. Thank you all for being here again. Really appreciate it. It's exciting to be here this morning and covering this. It's just so much fun and so cool. And it's really cool to see how this is all playing out today. GameStop still is green. It's just not as red as, or not as green as I think people expected because of people taking some profits here. But still, it is green. Okay, let's see where. Wow. Okay, so all right, here we go. We have a little bit of coverage on GameStop right here. Let's pull it up and let's see what the suits are saying. Here we go. Here's GameStop coverage, folks. Let's see what CNBC has to say.
Million shares, and then another bunch of call options expiring on the 21st of June. Strike price there, $20, 65.7 million worth of them. So, I mean, hey, good work if you can get it, I guess.
Yeah, but it's a $14 billion company. Oh, no. Okay, so let's go over that.
Yeah.
Let's say he sells. Does the commission have a case against him?
No,
well, if you look at what he's printing, he's not related at all to the company.
No.
If you were to say GameStop just has Jensen Huang has dropped into a GameStop and made 5 purchases.
He's not an insider. He's not privy to any material information. There's nothing. He's just telling people what he's doing. And then if they say great and they send the stock up and he decides to sell those options with a strike price of 20, it's fine.
So that's true, right? And I mean, look, I'm surprised mainstream media is on his side right now. He says, hey guys, I'm in this stock. I'm not telling you to buy or sell it, but I'm also telling you my position. That's the disclosure of the position is the key differentiating variable between being guilty or not. Like the SEC needs to know that you told people. The reason all these meme coins get arrested is because they didn't tell people they had the meme coin, right? So they pump it and they dump it. They never tell them. If he dumps it after telling people he has it without telling them to buy it, just literally saying, I like the stock and I disclosed it. That's why when he said I like the stock, it became a meme, right? Because he just likes the stock. Then it's not illegal. And I think that's an important thing to understand here as well.
Remember, Ryan Cohen did that to Bed Bath. And the government didn't investigate it. I mean, it's about making claims and it's about fomenting a reason to buy. And I don't think that running a picture of his check is anything other than I bought it. That's not, you come on our TV and you say, look, I bought a lot of GameStop, and if it goes up a lot, I might sell. Well, then it goes up a lot and they sell. I mean, it's legal. We don't like it, but it's legal.
And then the halo effect today on names like AMC?
Yeah, well, AMC will probably be ready to sell more stock because their balance sheet is still horrible. I know that AMC, now unlike GameStop's business is not great. AMC's business is bad. So I don't think they can avoid a difficult period of their existence without selling some stocks. Converts here. GameStop's now well capitalized, but it doesn't really have a mission. And David, as long as we can download via the Microsoft package, GameStop is really obviated, and that's why it's such a difficult thing to buy it up here.
I don't know if Roaring Kitty has presented a fundamental analysis in terms of why he is so bullish. I just don't know.
That is another thing legally, that word fundamental. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think there is wording in the SEC legislation that you need to have a fundamental reason to buy a stock that helps protect investors from literally buying a stock to buy a stock. So that's why, again, he memeified, right? I like the stock. He was trying to say, hey, there are fundamental reasons I like it. It was overall short. And if you could see a market asymmetry, then you could make a bet there. If he doesn't have a fundamental thesis, but he still has a thesis, then again, the SEC is going to have a hard case.
The first time through was much more about the short position and just sort of a feel, maybe, if I can put it that way.
Do you not feel completely ridiculous saying Roaring Kitty? Because you seem ridiculous.
I thank you. I've gotten over it. I'm now very happy
What's the name of your dog?
Roaring Kitty. My dog is named Scoop.
Well, Barking Scoop. Barking Scoop is looking into this, okay? Now, Roaring Kitty, just so everybody's clear, all right?
Yes.
Roaring Kitty, people are thinking, made a lot of money last go around.
Roaring Kitty is a very wealthy gentleman.
Right, so therefore, wow, this business is really good. Somebody wins. But there is a lottery effect. Now, let's say you bought the stock right here. Hold your ears, people who hate me. You should take profits because there's nothing there.
I know.
I mean, Ryan Cohen periodically goes to Good Humor? Was he did that with the...
Now, again, Cramer did say to sell the last time it went around, and he was on his victory lap as GameStop fell basically 2 weeks ago. But GameStop has made a little bit of a resurgence. So let's talk about what GameStop needs to do. Put in the chat, what do you think GameStop needs to do to capitalize on this momentum? Put in the chat, what do you think GameStop needs to do? Because I think it's really obvious, and I think I've had this thesis for a couple of weeks now. They need to buy some damn Bitcoin. GameStop has $2 billion in cash. First of all, I think they should probably do another at-the-money offering and raise another $500 million. If they have the liquidity to raise another $500 million and get $2.5 billion in cash with a market cap of around $10 billion, I think they should do it. Now you have two, but let's say they don't, right? They only have $2 billion. If they buy Bitcoin, the crypto traders are going to treat GameStop as a proxy. Whether it's justified or not, GameStop's going to be on the algorithms around MicroStrategy, Coinbase, etc. for Bitcoin. Number two, if Bitcoin actually goes up from 69,000 to 85, 90,000, Ryan Cohen would have got a way better return on Bitcoin than he would have on a 5-year or a 10-year treasury bond, which by the way is down today at like 4.4. So I think it just makes sense to buy some damn Bitcoin, get people excited and buy them in increments. Don't buy that all at once, right? Buy $500 million, or sorry, 50 million, then 50 million, and just keep people excited. 10-year right now, 4.453. And so I think that's what they need to do. Chris right here says they need to buy Bitcoin. I agree. I really think the Bitcoin buy makes sense. And I think Ryan Cohen has seen this tweet. This tweet got 150,000 views. Literally every GameStop bull that I know that saw this tweet tagged Ryan Cohen. I mean, people really resonated with this thesis I had. And I wrote this up while I was in the parking lot of the grocery store. I was about to go do some groceries 2 weeks ago. And I was like, you know what? I have an idea. And I just fucking wrote this out. And I was like, I think this makes sense. It's not even that risky at the end of the day because you're getting attention. And GameStop right now is thriving off having attention. And what's the most attention building asset on the planet at this moment? Chipotle's halted, by the way. I don't know why Chipotle's halted. It's Bitcoin. And so even if he buys the top at Bitcoin, dude, as long as he has some Bitcoin, I think it matters, or a short-term top. And I think that's going to help GameStop a lot. All right, GameStop is up 35%. The red candle is still there. It hasn't been able to get through 34. It was at one point at 42, but still, I mean, up 35% of the day is pretty incredible. And it's good to see that that's what's happening right now for GameStop. So momentum is still there. Where's AMC and where's all the other companies? Let's take a look at the others. So AMC is up 12%. AMC's run is dying out a little bit. Buy games via Bitcoin. Oh, what if GameStop made Bitcoin a transactional part of their business? You know, that's an argument. There's so many different things that could happen. Berkshire A is down 99%. Okay, so there's obviously some issues going on with the stock exchange. Chipotle's halted. The S&P, by the way, was halted on Friday for like 8 minutes for some random reason. It was like a technical glitch. S&P is still green right now, but a little bit of a red candle. So maybe there are some issues going on. Celsius down 5%. CRM now is red. CRM goes red. Dell down another 5%. SoFi still under $7. SoFi has a stock float or a short float of 18%. Is Portnoy still in? I actually don't know. If he's in, he's up on his money. If he's not, then no, he's definitely down on the AMC, but I think he's slightly break even on GameStop or above because I think his average is $30. But I actually don't know if he's still in. He had about $500,000 of GameStop stock. SoFi under $7. They have a big short float as well, but there's no squeeze happening, or there's like not really the potential of a squeeze, it seems like, because people are not that interested in it. But I guess that's one thing to look out for, given the short float is that high. Faraday Future up 9%. ServiceNow is up 1%. CrowdStrike's earnings tomorrow also, I think, determines a lot for the cybersecurity sector. Market wants a lot from CrowdStrike, and I don't know if they can deliver, dude. I don't know if they can deliver, but we'll see. If they can, then that's going to really help SaaS as well. Robinhood's volume is 8 million shares. Taiwan Semi's volume is 3 million shares. NVIDIA volume, 9 million shares. GameStop volume today so far, 62 million shares have traded hands today for GameStop. Isn't that what MicroStrategy did? They stock aligns with Bitcoin. Yeah, they bought Bitcoin, and they bought so much of it that. But see, the MicroStrategy has like over 200,000 Bitcoin. By the way, BlackRock now is almost 300,000. They have 287,000. But so the point is, MicroStrategy has so much of it that it's like a real proxy, whereas GameStop's not going to be a real proxy, but it'll still be a pseudo proxy. And I think that's all you need just to create volatility. And then if Roaring Kitty is still in the mix, that would be beneficial. All right, GameStop's 58 cents away from going below 30. It'll be suck if it gets to $30, dude. But that's happening. Let's see if Chris is available right now. Let's give him a call. Get his thoughts on what's going on. Let's see if he is able to pick up this morning and get some of his thoughts about this. If not, we could try to call Steve as well. This is absolutely incredible.
Hey, dude. Good morning.
Chris Patel, good morning. Did I wake you up?
A little bit. I tuned into your morning stream like I normally do. So I was like, all right, let me listen in. And that's when I heard all this commotion about GameStop.
It sounds like what it sounds like. The way I'm picturing your life right now is you're in your room, you got the TV on, you turned on the market open, and you just wanted to relax, not be disturbed, not be bothered, just let me entertain. And then I'm like, let's call Kris, and you're like, this motherfucker, I gotta pick up the phone.
What I typically do is I'll lay in bed like early in the morning, and I'll like tune into your live stream, and then I'll like listen as I pass out, because I work overnight sometimes. So like I was tired from last night. I was like, all right, let me get the market open and updates from Amit. What's interesting is I had a conversation with a few people who aren't exactly your biggest fans, but at the same time, they're like, man, but he's just such a good like anchor. Like, I'm like, oh, see, even people that don't necessarily like you as an investor love you as like a presenter. So I'm like, oh, so definitely have a gift for gab. You definitely have a very unique way of presenting things that even if it was something outside of investing, I think you still kill it. So,
Well, I really appreciate that. That means a lot. And I think you are a really good mind when it comes to investing. So let me ask you some questions. What do you think goes on? What is your raw reaction to Roaring Kitty having this big of a position?
I mean, at the end of the day, everyone needs to make money, right? Everyone wants to feel important. He's not doing anything illegal by just stating that he feels, he has this position. He's not violating any laws. He's not doing anything with it. Now, the market can interpret it however it wants, and people can buy into it. I do feel that sometimes he should take a little bit of personal responsibility in understanding that he's causing a lot of retail investors to put money in. And while he exits, he's going to become rich. These other people are going to lose money. So
you think people will be left holding the bag for sure if he dumps?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's how it works, man. I mean, if you guys saw Dumb Money, while they presented Keith Gill as the hero of the whole story, what ended up happening is the people who held, like the nurse at the end, she lost a crap ton of money.
That's true.
So the thing is, like, the expectations. Now, the thing is, he can't keep doing this. That's the problem, right? Like, it's like, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. So it's kind of like coming up where if this thing doesn't pan out the way that, he thinks it's going to pan out, then people are just, next time he comes on and says, oh, I'm bullish on blah, 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 they're not really going to trust him. So I don't know. His goal isn't to be a long-term investor that has a proven track record. It's more like, hey, I am here to kick in the teeth of Wall Street, and I'll basically.
So one quick question, then I want to get your take on the macro, then I'll let you go. Do you think there's any legitimacy to him wanting to kick on the door of Wall Street? Do you think it's a real kind of feeling, or do you think he's using it as a persona just to make money?
I mean, at this point, I'm not sure. The first time when he did it, he seemed like it was a definitely a valuation play where he said, look, there's assets there that are actually valuable, and there's these people that are shorting, and they deserve to basically, get their teeth kicked in. I'm not so sure that's the same thing this time. What's the short flow on GameStop?
25.
Is it 25%? Really?
It is. Yep. Last time it was 150 though,
Yeah. I mean, not so much this time, but still, like, damn, that is a pretty high short flow. And I'm not sure which idiots are trying to see. This is what I don't
Well, Kris, did you know Andrew Left of Citron Research started shorting GameStop again May 14th?
Oh my God.
After losing his short in 2021. So
there you go, man. I'll never understand people who try to short these meme stocks. Just, you're asking for a lot of pain. So
all right, let me get your 2-minute take on the macro. PCE came in nice on Friday. Oil's down. It looks like shelter disinflation is coming. I think the market's pricing in cuts 10 years down. Do you feel the soft landing thesis where Jerome Powell actually gets his rate cut without jobs going away dramatically, but with inflation coming down, happens in 2024?
Yeah, I think it's a real possibility. And I've been in the camp that we still might get 3 rate cuts this year. I know it sounds improbable, but, here's the part that not a lot of people are going to, agree with, but it is something that to consider. Shelter is driven right now by supply and demand imbalance. So basically, there's a lot of people that are sitting on sub 4% mortgages. And the thing is, like, they want to sell. They want to move on with their life. They want to move to another house. They found another job. Their wife left them, whatever, blah, 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 all that stuff. But the thing is, they're all locked into these low interest mortgages. So the thing is, there's not a lot of inventory on the market. So I think as rates come down, inventory is actually going to go up. And as inventory goes up, it's going to end up causing shelter to at least not raise higher than what it's currently priced at, and if not lower. So as rates come down, you're actually going to see this weird thing happen where deflation is going to come. So that's a perfect setup for a recession, because what ends up happening is when you have a house, like one of the impacts of wealth is that when you feel wealthy, you spend more. Like right now, I ask people, like, what's your net worth? And they all tell me, oh, I'm a millionaire. And I'm like, okay, do you have like liquid million? They're like, no, my house is worth like 800,000 and I have, like a few 100,000 in stocks and bonds. And I'm like, okay, so basically majority of your net worth is in your home, your primary address. So I'm like, so that's how you determine your wealth. The thing is, what if the wealth came down $100,000? Well, that means that I'm not a millionaire anymore. I'm like, okay, there you go. So this is what I think is likely to happen. Very similar to the past, where if home prices come down, you're going to get this reverse wealth effect. And a lot of these people that feel really wealthy because their home is quote unquote higher because they saw it on Zillow, they're going to freak out and say, you know what, maybe I need to cut back on spending. Yeah. If they cut back on spending, it's going to cause disinflation and eventually deflation. And that's what causes a recessionary spiral to happen. So I'll be honest, rate cuts might end up harming us more than people think. In the short term, it'll definitely help because there's a lot of companies where people will be like, oh my God, rate cuts are coming. I can refinance my debt. Yay, everything is great. But then if you get hit by a real true recession where demand absolutely drops off and companies are struggling to make money, then they're just going to start laying people off, and it's just going to exacerbate the problem more and more. And so the Fed is going to have a real tough time just dealing with that. So typically, in a real world scenario, the solution to recessions are you cut interest rates. But if cutting interest rates makes things worse, then what are you going to do? Right. So It's very similar to right now, where by them raising interest rates, they actually caused inflation to a certain degree because they kept shelter, prices kept going up. Right. So I think the market is a little bit broken, and I don't know. We'll see what happens in the next 3-4 years. But the way that I would tell people, if you believe a scenario like this is coming, is to position your portfolio in strong assets that don't require consumers to make a decision.
Right.
On the company.
Like if you're buying Lululemon right now, thinking people are going to have money, session, like it's just not going to happen. Right.
Yeah, I mean, anything that requires excess discretionary income is something that I would probably take a second look at to avoid. And I'd look at something like as an example, utilities. I know utilities will get a bad rap because it's low yielding stuff, but right now a lot of utilities are yielding 5.5-6%. And if you think about it, some people are going to say, you know what, I don't want to be in the market with all this shit happening. So let me get into utilities. Typically, that's what you do. During a recession, you get into utilities, you get into treasuries. The long bond right now is not that bad. So you could probably buy some treasuries too. So it's all about insulating yourself against.
Chris, we don't want treasuries. We want 40% in a day, bro.
I mean... Okay.
All right, Chris, let me get you out of here. You've been awesome. Yeah. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Ultimately, how do you think this GameStop saga ends this week? Up or down from the current price?
I don't know, man. There's still a lot of loose money all over the place, and there's a lot of people that the one thing I've learned over the last however many years of investing is that never doubt a person's ability to gamble away their life savings. For some reason, people are everyone wants to freaking just make money very quickly, easy, and cheap. And you know what? If there's a cult leader out there that can do that for them, they'll follow that guy off a cliff.
All right. Appreciate it, Chris. Thanks for calling in. We'll talk to you later.
Take care.
All right, guys, the stock market's broken. Berkshire Hathaway right now down 99%. This makes no sense. I wonder how many institutions are looking at this right now and trying to obviously this makes no sense. BRK is not down $627,000. But it looks like the volatility on GameStop has potentially created the downside effect on a variety of other stocks from an exchange perspective, like the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, et cetera. The NYC is investigating this. Yeah. I mean, a lot of institutions own a lot of BRKA. BRKB is the smaller version of this. BRKB, this one's $410, right? That equivocates to about what, 400,000? No, a little bit, probably like $600,000 of like actual stock. BRKB is the one that people can buy like just to buy. But 5,000 to 1 split. Yeah, that's what happened. So BRKB is fine, but BRKA, there's a lot of people that own a lot of money in that stock, and that's they're down 99.97% right now. They're probably a little upset. So we'll see what happens. It's just when things like this happen, you know it's an obvious glitch, and I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it is crazy to see it happening. We got a little bit of the market going red. Snowflake's red, Palantir's red, Salesforce is red, Dell is red, Apple's maintaining its green, Google's red, Amazon's red. Robinhood's obviously come down since GameStop has come down, 21.44. GameStop is now below $30, 28.60 right now on GameStop. Berkshire's looking like a steal right now. Yeah, right? Berkshire's like, that's actually a good tweet idea, dude. Berkshire looks like a buy the dip opportunity. I think I should buy the dip on this one. Oh my gosh. It's down $627,214. That's funny. I think I got to tweet that, bro. Lil Schmitty, I'm stealing your tweet. And I love that your name is Lil Schmitty, because I wouldn't expect anyone else to have a caption other than someone named Lil Schmitty. GameStop right here, $29.08. Robinhood 21.49. Again, it's still going. It's not as parabolic, but I mean, it's still pretty damn incredible, given how it's playing out right now. Let's hear from Nick Timiraos. He is at the Wall Street Journal. This is the guy I really respect. He's been covering the markets for 30 years, and here is his argument for a potential soft landing. Again, if you're going to listen to any Wall Street Journal reporters, I think Nick is one of the guys you should listen to. So let's get his take, what he thinks going on in the macro. We just heard from Kris. Let's hear what he has to say, and then we'll keep going from there.
Discuss, among other things, Friday's government report, the Fed's fight against inflation. Nick Timiraos, the Wall Street Journal's chief economics correspondent. It's good to see you, Nick. I'll start with something that struck me as interesting last week, and that's when someone made the case that the risks are really symmetrical. And they were talking, and I was saying, why is the Fed so dead set on cutting right now, given all the things that we're seeing in the market? And, you know, it just seems like a pretty good time, GDP wise, consumer spending, all the things we're seeing. They said because you're starting to see the other side of the mandate come into play. Where are we seeing employment show signs of cracking? Are we?
Well, I think the first question you asked there is, why is there this bias or this desire to cut? And I think it's because nobody really thinks a 5.25 to 5.5 nominal Fed funds rate is neutral, right? So the debate is really, how far above neutral are we? Is it just a little bit, or is it a little bit more than that? And so I think that's why you've seen Fed Chair Powell and others on the committee certainly at the beginning of the year on their front foot, ready to ease. You just don't want to overstay your welcome at 5.25 when inflation's been coming down. But I do think the Fed is going to be boring for a change. You can take the summer off. The committee is united around doing nothing right now. And yet that doesn't mean everybody feels the same way. There are some people who are uncomfortable with talking about cutting. And there were people earlier this year that were uncomfortable with overstaying their welcome at a 5.25 to 5.5% neutral rate. But I think it's kind of autopilot wait and see right now until the data tells them to do something different, Joe.
His name is Nick Timiraos, for those that are asking. We'll go back to him in a little bit and get the rest of his take, but his core point is like, hey, 5.5 is not neutral. We know inflation's coming down, and if it's coming down, then the Fed's going to eventually not have a inflation rate at below 2.5 with a Fed's funds rate that's double that inflation rate at 5.25, 5.5. So I think his argument makes a lot of sense, and it's pretty much the same argument a lot of people have been saying around where inflation is going. Again, we did raise rates the fastest we did in 40 years. So eventually they will have to get cut. All right, what's going on with GME now? GameStop 29.28. It's up 26%. Hood has no book order for BRKA. Yeah, the BRKA issue, guys. I'm looking at a report right now that the New York Stock Exchange is investigating it. But it's it's obviously not good right now. Like, that's not a good thing to see that happening. It's not a good thing to see the New York Stock Exchange not be able to handle. I mean, Berkshire, like, if any stock was going to go down 99%, even just like on paper, you would not expect Berkshire Hathaway for that. Like, it's freaking Berkshire, dude. So again, Berkshire Hathaway stock is currently down 99.9%. And that's what we're seeing on GameStop. It seems like this is because of GameStop. I mean, what other reason could that be? Can we try to buy it right now though? Like, again, I tweeted we should buy the dip. Buy one share at 185. Dude, there's no way this is gonna get executed. There's no way. Well, it's halted right now anyway, so insanity, bro. Insanity. I don't think anything's wrong with Buffett. And oh, by the way, if anything did happen to Buffett, God forbid that, I don't think the stock would drop 99%. I mean, at the end of the day, people know, this is a business that's going eventually to be without Buffett's leadership, and Berkshire has put other people in position to run the ship when he's no longer here. So I don't think that would be the reason it tanks. So it would go down, but it wouldn't go down 99%. QQQ 454. Where's AMC? AMC diluted shareholders by 73 million shares 3 weeks ago. Now it's at 485. That's why it's hard for AMC to keep running, because there's so many damn shares that they dumped. So that's one of the issues. But AMC running up a little bit right now. Computer hack? I mean, maybe it was a computer hack. If it was a computer hack, we need to sell CrowdStrike right now. There's hacking into our stock exchange right now. Or maybe it's like a manipulated buy and sell, but like there's so much manipulated buying and selling in the market that I don't know how one of these could really hurt it that bad. Let's see. GME at 31% up. It's still above 30, which is good. It's got to close. This is what happened last time. Remember last time it ran all the way up and then it closed like up a lot, but not up like as much as it was. I think it topped out at 80 last time. Let's see. Yeah, $80.07. It topped out on May 14th. That's when shit went crazy. And then since then, it fell all the way to $17.70. That's when Andrew Tate also became the influencer. Like this day when it went to $80, Andrew Tate bought like, I don't know, $1 million GameStop or something. And then he hasn't talked about it in months. Let's go to his Twitter. I'm pretty sure he's talking about it today. Let's see if he made an argument today about GameStop. No, he's complaining about Pride Month. Okay, so never mind. He's moved on from GameStop, and now he's complaining about Pride Month. But it'll be interesting to see how the media starts pushing this one, and the, I guess, influencers try to frame their identity around this one as well. Will GameStop hit 40 again? I don't know. I think it's very possible, but we will see. Just picked up 5 shares of Berkshire at 185. There's no way. There's no way that happened. There's no way. If you did, that's actually crazy. If it fills, they have to honor it, dude. Like, would they? Would they honor? They shouldn't let you buy it if that's good. That would be like, could you imagine getting a stock that's worth $600,000 for $185? And then you take that money and you put it into GameStop calls for $50 expiring next week. And then you take that money and you turn it into like 10 million. Like, yeah, Benny's probably joking. There's no way he can get that filled. That would be crazy. All right. So Robin at 2150, maintaining that 2% bump. Nvidia up 3%. ARM up a little bit. Taiwan Semi up 2%. Ulta 396. ELF 199. Again, GameStop, it's holding 30%. Maybe that's the extent to where it goes today, and that's okay. It doesn't need to go to the moon today, but it just needs to be above that $20 strike as well. Gold is also down, right? GLD, or like that's what it's looking like. On some markets have gold. Yeah, look at that. Gold's down 98% at 25 cents. That'd be really nice to buy gold at 25 cents, but a lot of these issues are going on right now in the broader markets. Yeah, also the bid-ask spreads on a lot of these stocks are just different, bro. Why is it halted? That's the $1 million question. We're trying to figure out, why is this shit halted? Like, what is going on here? How did they get to the point where things get halted? Crude oil? I don't know if that's the reason. By the way, we're down 0.31% on oil, which is good. But I don't know if there's any other macro factors causing this type of stuff outside of like a glitch in the system. We're literally in the matrix, right? I know that's such an overused term, but like We are literally in the Matrix. It's like I'm literally in a house right now streaming from a friend's spot from California of all places. You're talking about GameStop up as much as it's up right now. Like, it's insane. Give me Palantir at 10 cents. Come on, Mr. Market. Yeah, dude. If they were going to fucking tank a stock, they should tank Palantir. Let us get our buys in, bro. Shit. NYSE technical issues announced. Bruh, this is so fun, right? This is so fun. But put in the chat if you're new here. I'm pretty sure we got some new people here. And let me know in the chat if this is your first stream. We like to do a market open and market close every day. It's ironic. If you're new to the channel, it's so ironic you're here because we weren't supposed to do the stream today because the people that are part of the channel know that I'm like, I told them it's going to be a very hard week to stream. But then last night I'm driving down the California. I don't know if it was a highway. It wasn't a highway because there were palm trees and shit, but we're just driving down these roads. Beautiful. Got Michael Jackson playing. It's great. And then I see Roaring Kitty fucking bought 200 million of GameStop. I'm like, well, market open is happening. It is absolutely happening. Okay, so GameStop here, $30, S&P 528, Robinhood 2145, AMC 49, 216 right now as well on GameStop, and that's what we're seeing. Oh, I think it was the Pacific Coast Highway, PCH. I think that's what we were at. I think that's what they call it, Pacific Coast Highway. Chuy Hermosillo says, I came on here, then I saw your hair. I said I'll stay here. I gotta take a picture of this, Chuy. I'm sorry, I gotta take a picture of this. Pacific Coast Highway. Okay, I'm taking a picture of this. I came on here, then I saw your hair, and I said I'll stay here. This is like the best comment ever, dude. This is great. Welcome to Degenerates. Yes, welcome. Faith Hansen is new here. Faith, thank you for being here. I think if you're a GameStop holder, you got to have a lot of faith right now in GameStop. GameStop right here, $30.39. Faith, you'll get used to the fact that the jokes are elite, and they're on the spot. So hope you enjoy it. Look at Henry's comment. Congratulations, Amit. Even though you suck as a stock picker, you're a great market streamer. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, hey, my friend, cut your hair. You look like a pineapple. This is how you know there's new people in the chat because the regular OG subs, they're used to wild hair. But the new people, I was telling my friend the other day when I got my haircut in 5th grade, I looked like a mushroom and everyone made fun of me. Things have not changed. Now I look like a pineapple. But pineapples on pizza are blasphemy. And anyone who does that needs to stop doing that. That's disgusting. So let's not do that. Path new 52-week low. Oh my goodness. You got to be kidding me, dude. Wow, 1165. You got to be kidding me. Unbelievable. The market does not care. We got Swizzy Dalmini. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. New here from South Africa. I love it. Tyla, your girl Tyla put South Africa on the map. I'm not going to lie. Outside of Tyla, it wasn't, maybe I'm ignorant, but there was not that many people putting South Africa on the map, but Tyla did it. So there you go. You should buzz your head when Palantir hits her. I had a friend tell me I would look good in a buzz cut. And I kind of think I would. Like, honestly, like not even trying to have an ego or anything. I do think I would look legit in a buzz cut. But it's so scary to try, and it would take so long for it to grow back. S&P at 528, that I don't think I should take the risk to do it. I don't think I should do like I think a buzz cut wouldn't be crazy, bro. I think like the short, I think it actually wouldn't be that bad. But Elon is South African. That's true. Elon definitely put South Africa on the map. Yeah, but I mean like culture, music, you know what I mean? We haven't heard an artist from a long time, but Tyla, she did her thing. She's doing it. I want to do a buzz cut. I think I need to have some fuck you money to do a buzz cut, dude. I feel like you need, cause like if I do a buzz cut and it looks bad, look, my thin is so my skin is so thick. If you saw it at a club, you would ask for its number. So I have pretty thick skin. And if people made fun of me because I had a buzz cut, like I'd be able to deal with it. But if I had fuck you money, then I'd really be able to deal with it. That's what I wouldn't care. Like these comments right here saying Amit, not the best stock picker. Look, maybe, but I did pick one stock that at $8 where no one else was picking it. And whenever I feel bad about some of those comments, I just look at the gains on those positions. So it's like, sometimes when you have the FU money, the comments really don't affect you. Like ever. Now, granted, the comments should never affect you. You got to build up your confidence and your insecurity levels. But when you got the money, it also just makes it easier to be like, well, that's a random guy on the internet. And, my portfolio is not doing too bad. So, but granted, if I do cornrows or something ridiculous like that, I think we need to have a little bit more money. We need to have a little bit more money. GameStop right here is still $30. All right, let's see if the suits are talking, dude. Are the suits still talking? Let's see if we can try to get some other coverage on what's going on with GameStop. We should also hear about Rubin and Nvidia. I mean, that thing. Oh, wow. Anthony Fauci is being testified in front of the House subcommittee around COVID? What? That's happening today? I did not know that's happening. Okay, so Fauci's testifying. Wow. Interesting. Did not know that. I love your hair. I love the wild effect. First time being on your stream. I'm here in Connecticut. Thank you, Lady KCDJ. I appreciate it so much. It means the world. It means the absolute world. You picked Palantir and Hood with a lot of money on them. I mean, you're not the worst in the world. Yeah, and look, I mean, I think part of the reason, if you're new to this stream, the reason people I think come to this show is because I'm not the best stock picker in the world. And I'm learning. I'm 26 years old for those that are joining here. I'll be 27 in October. But I developed a passion for the markets around 4 years ago, started making content about one stock in particular 3 years ago. That one stock has been through a lot of turbulence, but it's overall done well. The reason the way I've been able to build the channel is because that stock has given me so much news to talk about. It obviously created an audience. And then I decided to take my hand at covering everything, but not necessarily covering everything like an expert. I'm not an expert on semis or the macro, but I'm willing to learn. And that's the one thing about me that I really like is I like to learn. And for those that don't know me, in the past, I did debate in high school. I was one of the top debaters in the United States of America. So it really became easy for me to look at what's happening in the world and then communicate it. And now the question is, can I just communicate it in an entertaining way, even if it's not in the smartest way? And obviously, the humor from my communication keeps the game exciting, or hopefully keeps the stream exciting. You dive the DNA bullet, dude. DNA, this thing is just unbelievable. DNA Ginkgo Bioworks right now, 54 cents. It's up 3%. Kathy Wood has 200 million shares of this stock, and it's a synthetic bio play. I did dive that bullet. I got excited about it at $2, and then I saw the insider selling, and it was just so egregious. I was like, you know what? My gut tells me this is just not exciting, and we got out of it. But this one's tough. 55 cents on the day for GameStop. Rocket Lab is also, Kathy Wood bought a ton of Rocket Lab last week. Rocket Lab right now is at it's down 1.26%, 431. Not too bad on Rocket Lab, but at least, you know, I mean, it's starting to build momentum. As SpaceX, I think, is the North Star for Rocket Lab. If SpaceX can keep doing what it does, Rocket Lab will keep doing what it does. As you know, the market's just gonna get bigger. All right, GameStop, $30. Let's see if we can try to get some other coverage, bro. Let's try to get some other coverage on GameStop. Oh, the other bullet we dived besides DNA is fucking Snowflake, dude. Brad Gerstner couldn't dive that one's this, you know, his entire fucking fund is the top position in the fund. We dived that one, and we ended up getting into the Palantir one instead. Okay, I'm trying to see if we can get some updated numbers on what's happening with GameStop. Let me see if I can get on some accounts that cover this better. So we know the stock market's broken. Berkshire Hathaway, is that still down? BRK. Is that one still down? If that's still down, then we're probably seeing a little bit of, yeah, that's still down 99%, dude. That's insanity. That's absolute insanity. Shout out to Adam in the chat, $5. I appreciate you. Dude is up 100% on Palantir and multi-bag Hood, and you say he's not good. You good, my man? We doing great. I appreciate it, bro. Adam is it has a play. Adam, I met him in New York the other week, and he has a play on a company that he bought when no one wanted at all. And I'm not going to say the name of the company, but that company is doing incredibly well. And it was really, I think I told you guys this story, but me and Adam were sitting in this New York fancy restaurant. Adam was nice enough to buy me dinner that day, and we're just talking about the fact that we both came from, quite frankly, nothing. I mean, like I was born in America, so you know, like my family immigrated from India, and they came up here, and my family made sure I had a roof over my head, always had food, right? So when I mean come from nothing, it's more so the fact that we're not rich, but you know, my parents worked their ass off. My dad had a liquor store, all that stuff. And like now I'm looking at my gains in the stock market. It's been a hell of a year. Let's hope this, you know, year continues happening. I'm looking at his gains. His portfolio is, you know, almost 20 times the size of my portfolio. And we both made some asymmetric plays in the beginning of the year, and it's been paying off. And he grew up with a family who loved him, but also a family that was struggling much worse than my family, right? And you know, he gave me the story that him and his brother, they were going to eat pizza, and his mom could only afford one slice, and she cut it in half and gave them both pizza. And that when you come from those beginnings, and then you look at what your portfolio is on your fucking Robinhood account, up, you know, the amount you're up, it really puts into context why people try to chase financial freedom, and part of the reason this is happening for GameStop philosophically is that people are trying to chase that high, that freedom of wealth inequality that has become exuberant in society today. And they're trying to find a way out. Now, look, betting on GameStop might not be the way out, but it also might. And I don't know if we should be fair enough to criticize the people that are thinking of it as the way out. Now, as an objective stock analyst, I would say it's not a way out I would pick. But granted, the people that were buying GameStop at $4 or $5, and they kind of saw a thesis playing out, just like Adam did with one of the stocks he bet on that I think has a more fundamental thesis than GameStop, or something like a Robinhood that also has a fundamental thesis. Then you can't blame them. I mean, guys, I think I told you, I have a friend who put in a little bit of money, like insignificant amounts of money, into a meme coin when it was worth $100,000. That meme coin is now worth about $4 billion in market cap. That insignificant amount of money. I mean, when I mean insignificant, I mean, it's like I'm pretty sure everyone in the chat could lose that amount of money and they would not even blink. They would be like, that stock splits, whatever. That money, I mean, I don't even know what's the percentage return on that is insane, but it's turned into real life-changing money for him. Because he bet on a meme coin, and that meme coin has sustained its momentum. And I think there's been a lot of research this year about the memification of attention, which is what this is. Like, Nvidia is just a game of attention. Why the hell are people paying $1,140 a share right now? It's this idea that Nvidia has capitalized on attention that exists in the stock market and in the broader AI GPU marketplace. And Nvidia and people are willing to pay for that. Same thing with Palantir. Is Palantir really worth $50 billion, doing $2.6 billion in revenue? I don't know. You could say they're not. But when they get Palantir down 1.81% right now, if they get 500 million on a random Wednesday, it's like, actually, maybe they are worth a little bit more than we thought. And then that's the place. Don't be an apologist. This absolutely violates the principles of investment. Well, here's my thing, dude. The principles of investments are subjective. They're all subjective. There's no one way to invest. If that was the case, then there wouldn't be a market, right? There has to be a seller, a buyer. That's what makes a market. So there's people selling GameStop. There's people buying GameStop. The price is what people are willing to pay for it. And it's a subjective perspective and point of view. At the end of the day, when Palantir was $6 and I was uploading many subjective YouTube videos about why I still like it, even though it was $6, a lot of people hated it. And that could have theoretically violated the principles of investing. But this is all about subjectivity, which is why the markets are fun, which is why it's interesting. And it's more fun to cover this than sports or pop culture. Because sports and pop culture, you're just like chasing random celebrities and athletes and hoping they, become successful and you get the dopamine off that. In the stock market, the dopamine is not only the fact that BRK is down 99% and we have to cover that, but that you could have potentially bought BRK when it was $185 40 years ago. And now it's $627,000. There's money to be made in the subjectivity of the sport of investing. And that's why I think it's exciting to continue to cover it. Bitcoin refuses to catch up. Well, that's true. Bitcoin also. Is this thing below 70 again? We touched 70 for like 2 seconds, though. It was so quick. It came so quick, and I know about coming quick, but this thing came quick. Like, this thing came really quick. Where is Bitcoin right now? Bitcoin is at 69,455. All right. Going to take some time to see if that can get back to 700,000 or 70,000, not 700,000. That's BRK. No, that is gambling, not investment. Admit, that you're telling people it's okay to play the lottery. Honestly, dude, from the bottom of my heart, I don't think buying GameStop at $5 when you thought this whole thesis was going to play out. Let's just say you had a hunch that Roaring Kitty was going to come back. And let's just say randomly you had a hunch and you ended up being right. I think that's a thesis. It may not be the best thesis, but it's a thesis. And if people buying Bitcoin, you could say, is gambling as well, but they have a thesis on why they think Bitcoin is going to go up. So I don't think it's I don't think it's gambling. I think there's a thesis there. I really do, even if it's a crappy thesis. I think there's still a thesis. Can you become the Roaring Kitty of Palantir already? Dude, the problem would be trying to become the Roaring Kitty of Palantir would be awesome, but the sucker is 2.1 billion shares outstanding. So it's like and also the short float on Palantir. Alex Karp scared everybody. When he said the shorts are sniffing cocaine, all the shorts were like, all right, we're just going to we're not going to mess with this guy. We're just not doing it. So, the short float, I don't think is ever going to be that high. What the hell is going on with BRKA? Again, there's a New York Stock Exchange issue, and they're investigating it. I don't know why it's taking so long, but that's what's going on. I know a lot of people right now are down 99.9% in their portfolios, and they're also wondering what the hell is going on. But that's probably going to be resolved. I doubt that's, going to continue for the whole day. But if it does, GameStop broke the market. Meta's at 477, Google's at 174, Amazon 177, Nvidia 1136. Let's do this. Let's put in the chat. Who's in GameStop? Who's actually in GameStop? Oh yeah, this is a great comment by Michael Wilder. Vlad looking at them like with the rolling eye emojis. Dude, If anyone's looking at the New York Stock Exchange for a stock being down 99% and people not having the ability to buy, it's freaking Vlad Tenev right now. To my understanding, Robinhood has had zero problems today. Everything's functioning very well, and people can buy their GameStop all they want, and it's doing what it has to do. But look at this. Look at this. On Robinhood, I got a notification right now. New York Stock Exchange is currently experiencing a market data issue resulting in incorrect pricing for certain symbols. Some symbols may be halted. It's so nice when you get to blame someone else. It's so nice, dude. I know I preach personal accountability and all that stuff, and all of us are adults in the room. We should all be personally accountable. But sometimes it's nice to just blame someone else. And Robinhood gets to blame someone else today. So we got Tesla here at 179, Nvidia at 1136. Yeah, put in the chat if you bought GameStop. Put in the chat. And be honest. Don't lie if you bought GameStop. Vlad sold his BRKA shares to put into GameStop. Well, I asked him, for those that are new to the channel, I asked him if he's allowed to invest, and he told me this was off camera. This wasn't part of the podcast, but he said no, because he said he can invest, but it would be so many conflicts of interest because he runs a freaking brokerage that like any move he makes would be criticized so much. So but people, dude, I asked him, I was like, so before the podcast started, I was like, Vlad, because I'm getting into the options market, the derivatives market, right? And I was like, Vlad, do you actually know about options and put debit spreads and calls and all this shit? And he's like, yeah, I studied this in college. I was like, what? He was like, I almost accepted a job at a European hedge fund when he was 22 or 23 to become one of their top options traders. I was like, what, dude? That's crazy. This guy is so this guy understands everything going on in the broader markets. He just is not allowed to do this because he runs Robinhood. But yeah, he probably understands the technicalities of how this stuff is playing out as well. So Bitcoin right here is tanking. It's up 1% of the day, but it was at 70,306. It's 70,000 is so much resistance, dude. It's kind of insane. It's like a girl you're trying to talk to, at 70,000, and you're trying to really get to know her. And then there's just constant resistance. There's it's very difficult to get out of the friend zone. You know what I mean? It's 70,000 is absolutely friend zone Bitcoin to such an extent. And it's a nasty friend zone too. It's one of those you're you're in public with people and that's my best friend, and you're just sitting there yeah, that's my best friend too. Right? That's what Bitcoin's doing right now. Well, 69,000, it's my best friend. And you got 69,000 staring back at it yep, I guess we'll just be best friends. And so one day we need to bust through this friend zone and we need to move on and, take things seriously. And let's see if we can get through 70,000. Let's see. Understanding Options by Michael Sincere is a great book, BTW, for people who actually want to play options. Okay, I'll write that down. That's awesome. There's a couple of books on options that are really good. There's also a couple of YouTube channels that I think are really good. I'm not the biggest reader. I watch more, I listen more. But there's definitely, that's the thing, guys. Well, here's another thing. If you're new to the channel, and the people who know my channel know I say this all the time, please do not buy a course for the stock market or for investing. Don't join some, stupid private group from people that you don't know about. All the information is out there, dude. Everything is out there. You just have to be a little sophisticated with scrolling through videos to find the right channels, but it's not like you need a course to learn any of this shit. All of this is there. DraftKings right here, 35, Roku 58. Where's ARK right now? The ARK fund. ARK fund right here, 43.18, 1.72% on the day. So that's up a little bit, but still down for the year. Let's see what Twitter is saying. If anyone else is talking about some more stuff. By the way, shout out to Lil Schmitty, who gave me that comment or that caption about Berkshire Hathaway. I tweeted it and I said, looking like an absolute steal. And it looks like people like the tweet. So thank you for the caption, Lil Schmitty. I hope you are in the streams every day for more captions. But yeah, this Berkshire Hathaway thing still is not resolved. HPQ and Dell are getting butchered today. Yeah, Dell's getting butchered. HPQ, a little bit of a proxy. HPQ right now also getting, down 4%. That's getting hit as well. Does Vlad know about Derivamit? Well, Vlad does know that I use Webull over Robinhood, and that's another catalyst for Robinhood, by the way. They're coming out, by the way, the CFO confirmed at the conference on Friday that they are absolutely releasing their pro trading thingy, the more sophisticated way of looking at stocks and charts and stuff. And I think people don't get how good it's going to be. The way he was talking, dude, there was no video, but you could tell he was smiling, and he was just the reason it's taking a long time, he didn't say this, but this is what I'm thinking, is because this thing's going to blow people's socks off, And as a result of that, maybe I stopped using Webull and I start using that every day. So Vlad, when we did the podcast, he was just like, I see that you're not using Robinhood, you're using Webull. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, because our product kind of sucks. And I was like, yeah, it kind of does. Right. So he can acknowledge and he'd be humble about his shit as well. But that's why I like him. And that's why I think he has a good head on his shoulders at the end of the day of trying to build this up. Okay, let's get a little bit more from Nick. So we said we would finish up Nick's take. Again, he's one of the Wall Street Journal reporters I trust on the soft landing thesis. Let me go back to him and see what he has to say. And then we'll keep going from there. Where is the video? Let me pull it up real quick. And let's listen to Nick. Also, Reid Hoffman introduced some really interesting things today, but let me play this right here. Then we'll talk about Reid Hoffman. I'm up on Kohl's 9% today. Okay, not bad. Kohl's got beat up after earnings, so not bad if you got the dip on them.
I guess it's in the eye of the beholder about whether you really think we're restrictive, because it seems we got like we have a lot of breathing room on the employment side of things. Do we need what they when the mandate says full employment? Do they mean 3%? They really mean full employment? We've never had an employment number or an unemployment number stay this low for so long, Nick. It seems like we got some breathing room there. Inflation, I have no idea if they're ever getting down to 2%. In a year, in 2 years, I have much less confidence in that than we're starting to see a slowdown in labor. So I don't see why the risks are symmetrical.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, there's a debate right now. It's the same debate we've been having for the last year. It hasn't been resolved. You know, one side is saying, look, the longer you stay here, the more likely you are to create weakness in the parts of the economy that were just completely unprepared for the rate shock that we had in 22 and 23. That would be commercial real estate. That would be the regional banks. And here, the more that you will tighten the economy passively and something could break, that Jan Hatzius and David Miracle at Goldman have been on for the last year is the rate cuts are optional. The economy's fine. You're past the peak impulse from the rate shock. And so businesses have had time to adjust. Households are adjusting. You know, the consumer's doing well. Your last guest made that point very well. And we have a little bit, I think, of a different cycle here, Joe. You know, this hasn't been a credit-driven expansion. This has been wealth and incomes. Asset prices are strong. More. And so until jobs and incomes change, it's hard to see how you have the slowdown that a lot of people have been anticipating. So in your gut, Nick, and you follow closely in addition to, you know, having access, you're pretty sure that the default move will be a cut. There's no way we're going back to a stop-start. Maybe I'm just, because I was a child of that era, I know how easy it is to think that you've, you know, put a stake in the heart of inflation, and you really haven't. You're convinced that the next move will eventually be down. No, never say never, but I think you have to ask yourself, where is the reacceleration going to come from? It could come from wages, but we see wage growth.
Dude, and that's a hell of a point. Where the hell is the reacceleration going to come from inflation? I think that's the best point he's making right here, because if it's not coming from anywhere, the Fed knows the inevitability is a cut.
Slowing down. It could come from OPEC. Yeah, it could come from a shock. Certainly, I think a shock is the most realistic way you get this. But look at oil right now. It's not threatening, you know, $100 or something that we were talking about last fall. You could have inflation expectations move up. That would get committee members' attention at the Fed. Or you could have a global growth reacceleration. But I think all the things you'd need to see to put hikes back on the table, you know, they're not really barking at you right now. Right. Well, then it was a success.
I think that's a good point. And so I think the reason I wanted to play that is because I think Nick is making the argument that if it's not coming from anywhere else, like, then the Fed has to acknowledge that this story might end up being over when it comes to inflation. GameStop at 31, getting a little bit of momentum there. Where's Robinhood? Robinhood at 21.43. You know, this one comment I think is really interesting right here in the chat. So Shira Denal says, anyone know if Roaring Kitty still has his position open or did he close them? The reason I think that's a very interesting comment is because it just triggered this idea that I had, which is that I think all the GameStop bulls, they want Roaring Kitty to make a lot of money, right? Like, he's the cult leader. They want him to be successful. But his success comes at the detriment, literal detriment, because if you believe people will be bag holding GameStop, you have to believe it'll be a detriment of the people buying GameStop at elevated levels, 70, 80 bucks, whatever they buy it at, right? That's when he cashes out. So it's a really weird conundrum, almost a philosophical paradox. Like, you want this guy to be successful. You want him to, stick it to the hedgies. But in order to stick it to the hedgies, the musical chairs eventually has to stop. And some people are not going to be sitting. They're not going to have a chair to sit on because his call options are going to be occupying a lot of chairs. And so it is kind of weird, right? To an extent, like, you want the guy to win, but you also want to win with him. But if you end up being in the wrong time, you're going to lose with him, right? And that's going to be not the best either for him. Lady KC DJ says, I've watched you with the other guys and was shocked to see you go solo, but you are doing a great job. Thank you. Oh, did you get us from Finance Junkies? Or where else did you find us from? Because those are some of the other guys to do a podcast with. Yeah, we do a solo one every morning. And this is where I don't have to moderate. I can just yap for 30 minutes. People constantly ask, they're like, yo, how can you talk for 2 hours straight? How long have we been on? It's been 7:45. We started at 5:45. It's literally been 2 hours. Maybe we took like a 10-minute break while the videos were playing. I don't know. I just like talking. Like, I just really like talking. That's the easy answer. And so that's also why this job is like, it's a hard job, but it's an easy job from that perspective. Like, if all you have to do is talk. Now, obviously you have to say stuff that matters, right? So that's the hard part of it. But the actual literal talking, it's like my mind just goes to too many places. I don't think it's ADHD. I don't think I have ADHD because the thoughts are coherent as well as I'm transitioning through them. But I do have a lot of thoughts. You are extroverted. Yeah, I guess so. I would say I'm extroverted. Amit must have spent a lot of time alone. There's truth to both of those things. I think I have an extroverted personality, but also I really enjoy being alone. Like, dude, honestly, this is not going to sound the nicest, but I don't like eating food like with like my family. Like, and the worst, and it's not because I hate my family. It's because I kind of just like sitting alone in my room with YouTube eating a meal, and it's like, I kind of blame my parents on this, not in a bad way, but like we didn't really have like, how Americans have like, everyone eats food together at like 7 p.m. Everyone comes, they hold hands, they pray, and they eat food together. We didn't really do that growing up because my dad came home at like 10 p.m. Right. So we didn't do that shit. And we had to eat by 7. My mom was a teacher. She had to wake up early in the morning. So like now I don't really enjoy like eating food with other people like that, unless it's like a date or something, you know what I'm saying? But like, I like being like myself. I think other people feel the same, right? Yeah, Fritz Walter, I do the same thing. Other people enjoy just eating alone. So I do enjoy being alone. And I think that's also a superpower because as you get older, you realize no one gives a fuck about you. No one. Maybe your family does, maybe your significant other, but pretty much no one does. So you have to really give a fuck about yourself, which means you have to be comfortable with being alone. And I think it's a superpower to an extent. NVIDIA 1135, Robinhood 2136, GameStop 3073, up 32% on the day. Talking drains my energy a lot. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Talking just keeps giving me more energy. That's the difference, I guess. I just keep wanting to say more shit. Like sometimes I have to remind myself, yo, the stream's been going on for a while. We have to stop it, because I'll just like keep talking. SoFi here at 687. People have been saying what can be the catalyst to get SoFi to keep moving. I don't know, bro. Like at this point, if Noto doesn't come out with some partnership that just changes everything, but granted, I think you got to listen to Peter Lynch here, which is the stock is not the company is not the stock. And like eventually the stock will reflect the company. But right now there's just not a lot of momentum making catalysts. And until that happens, it's going to be tough. Where's GameStop? GameStop is not crashing. Someone said GameStop's crashing. It's not crashing, dude. It's up, it's up 32%. There's a red candle. Yes. Topped at 47.50, $30 right now. So if you bought it, pretty GG, but still it's up 30% on the day. It's not horrible at all. Not too bad. Cool. Okay. So I think we're going to Elf hitting 200. You see the AMD news? Yes. AMD. Is AMD up on this news though? Is AMD actually pumping or no? Because NVIDIA is up. AMD. Wow. AMD is down. I guess the NVIDIA chip is pseudo bad news for AMD. I mean, I don't think it's bad news, but I guess the market feels like it's a little bad news. Because obviously NVIDIA is coming up with a new chip. But I think AMD is going to be fine long term. I mean, this whole sector is just growing even greater than we could possibly imagine. No. Robinhood right here, 2130, GameStop 30, NVIDIA. Where's Path? Is Path still hit? 1155 down 5.79% on the day. Path is hit. Nobody with good credit uses SoFi unless they are paid by the company. No, I do think, well, a good credit. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I mean, if you evolve to really high levels of credit, you probably are using like American Express and all that shit. But still, I think there is like an argument for why people enjoy using SoFi. Okay, Berkshire, is it still down? Wow, dude, it's still down 99%. What is going on? Is CNBC covering this at all? Like, how is this happening? This is just incredible that this is actually continuing to play out the way it's playing out. It's been over 30 minutes at this point. It's so weird to see 7:49 in California. Usually it's like 10:49 right now. But yeah, I guess the market continues to have this play out, and hopefully they fix it, but it doesn't look like it's happening. 806 credit using SoFi, best bank I ever used. Yeah, there's plenty of people that have good credit and that are using SoFi also. There's a couple of other stocks affected the same as Berkshire. I agree. Dell is down massive. Shout out to Marco Rubio in the chat, bro. Shout out to Marco Rubio. Yes, Dell is down massive. Marco, did you like buy puts on Dell? We know you politicians love to do your insider trading. Oh, okay. Let's end it on this note. There was an insider trading thing that happened with a politician. Let me see if I can find it last week. And it was pretty ridiculous. It was this dude who like traded around a contract. Let me see if I can pull it up. But it was pretty incredible, the trade. And it's like the fact that that's still happening is happening. Oh, by the way, last week, Berkshire on Friday filed that they're potentially going to go public. Okay, this is the trade right here. Let me pull it up. Would you guys buy stock? Or not Berkshire, I'm sorry, Bill Ackman. Would you buy stock in Bill Ackman? Would you trust his hedge fund with your money? I'm really curious if people say gold is down 99%. Yes, that's a problem with the stock exchange as well. Okay, so Tuberville's Huma trade is up another 17% today. Okay, so Tuberville sits on the Armed Services Committee. He's a politician. He is now up 200% since his filing came out back on April 15th on Huma. Huma is a company that benefits off of war, if I'm not wrong. Benefits off of, yeah, it's a war company. Let me look at it exactly. Are they a defense contractor? I'm pretty sure they're a defense contractor. But this is a company that the politician bet on a while ago, and then we saw some different stuff happen. Oh, it's a global health tech company doing research. Okay, well, there's some defense angle to it, and that's how he's benefiting off of it. And then obviously Nancy Pelosi, we saw the NVIDIA trades she's made as well that have been incredible this year. She bought in the money call options at $400. She's up really well on those. And so politicians have made a lot of money this year, and they've enjoyed the money they've made. But that's another reason why Roaring Kitty is doing what he's doing. And like, and that's the other thing about the politician trading. It's like no one's investigating Pelosi or Tuberville or Chuck Schumer or any of these guys or Bill Ackman. So any claims to want to investigate this guy, Roaring Kitty, is just like insane. It's just insane. Huma does medical stuff for frontline soldiers to help keep them alive when they are shot or blown up. Thank you for that, Tired Gang. Thank you for that. So yeah, it's a global health company, and that's the war angle. I didn't know that. The war angle was that they actually treat soldiers in times of crisis. And so boom, there you go. Their stock is up, and he took a bet on them before their stock went up. Which is why you just can't feel that bad about Roaring Kitty and doing what he's doing as well. Why is Palantir down 2.2% today? I think the SaaS rotation's happening a little bit, and we're seeing some market hits around SaaS, which is why we're seeing that pain, but that's probably why. I don't think there's any other fundamental reason. The fact is, Palantir gets a $500 million contract and falls. To me, as a long-term shareholder, I like that because that means I buy more stock knowing what I'm buying that the market doesn't fully understand. And if the market doesn't have to understand it right now, that's okay. But eventually, I think they will understand it. And if I'm right about that, then I'll be right. Cool. All right, guys. So I think we're done. For this. Thank you all for joining. Last look at GameStop right here. We're at $30.44. I will not be doing a market close today because I'm going to be a bit busy. Tomorrow, definitely not doing a market open because I'll be on a flight. And then the rest of the week is up in the air. We're going to have to play it by ear. Thursday, I'm in California for a reason. Thursday, you guys will see what the reason is. And I think you guys will, let's just say, be a little excited for the reason. Most of you guys are not going to believe the thing that's happening. I can't kind of believe it's happening, but it is happening. And I think you guys will get some hints of what's happening probably in the next couple of days. So Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Hopefully you guys got some good coverage. I think we had 1,700 people at one point at the peak of this stuff. We went through GameStop. We went through Berkshire Hathaway losing 99% of its value. We went through Robinhood touching 2240. I mean, there's a lot of stuff this morning. NVIDIA continues to be up, showing even more innovation to justify their momentum. And it's been incredible. It's been incredible. I am the happiest person in the world waking up at 3 a.m. after not sleeping for 3 days and doing this market open. And part of the reason for that happiness is because you guys show up and you guys are here. So not to get too emotional here, but okay, let's just real quick. We got to end it on this. So my sister texted me this shit today, dude. I gotta say, she said to not say this, but I've got to say this. Okay. She texted me. I never get a text like this from my sister. 5:14 a.m. I was listening to the radio and it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Take care of your heart and mind and know that you are loved and that I am always here for you. Now, look, me and my sister have a really good relationship. I love her. She loves me. We're not that type of brother and sister that don't talk to each other. She knows about my personal life, all that stuff. But we don't send that type of shit. Like, I'm here for you, like all this type of shit, right? So I'm thinking, how do I respond to this? This is my sister. I love my sister. I care about her so much. When my parents are gone, my sister's going to be the only one left. And I'm like, I need to give a really good response to make her feel that like I respect her and care about her so deeply, and that she actually wanted to. First of all, listening to the radio. Who the fuck is listening to the radio, dude? Like, this I don't know why she's listening to the radio, but I needed to send a good message, right? And so I'm like, I think there's one word that encapsulates how much she'll know that I care about her. Gay. And so I type a big old GAY. I'm like, dude, like, come on, dude. Like, I am not gonna be all sentimental. I was like, that's gay, bro. That's gay. And then she's like, I hate you so much. And then I was like, no, I love you. I'm always gonna be with you. Blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna be here forever for you. So we had to, dude. We had to. Like, if there was any moment in time you could type gay, it's got to be that moment. Men's mental health awareness. Men's mental health awareness is a big deal. Don't get me wrong. But like, if there was any moment to say gay, it's that moment. So I'm being a little bit gay right now as well, saying thank you all for being here because it means the world to me. And I appreciate you. And by gay, I mean happy. By gay, I mean happy. So I appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you, everybody. This was awesome. It'll be fun. I don't know how many streams will happen this week. We'll see what happens, but it'll be a really fun week. Trust me, I'm not overhyping what's going to happen this week. It's going to be pretty damn cool. And you guys will see it a little bit later this week. Thank you, guys. Eric Wood, the stream is a gay old time. That's what it is. Thank you. Appreciate it. Love you guys. And we'll talk to you later during the week. Bye, everyone. Have a good one.